Howdy, howdy.
Hi, yes, Poe. I'm talking to someone. That's our cat. Poe, look, that's you, Bubby. Hey, Bubby, that's
Oh,
you. See,
so
that's
cute.
you.
Little void.
He is. We call him our void in training. He's been
I know.
so excited.
Really?
He's been
That's
so,
so great.
yeah.
I'm glad.
He's
I felt at first like we were kind of forcing this upon him, and I was like, man, I hope we're not like, you
no. He's
know.
he's a little awkward sometimes with new people, but then I was like, no, it's based off of these two characters. He's like, oh, we've done that before. I can play the character. That's gonna be so easy and fun.
Okay,
And
cool.
he had some really cool ideas for the class. Um,
Oh, okay.
yeah, he was. I'll let him explain the specifics, but he wants to do a sorcerer artificer build.
Oh, yes.
Because if it comes from the bloodline, sorcerer makes sense.
Yes,
And
indeed.
then artificer for point of study, yeah, and a kingdom of inventors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
So it
great.
makes.
My players decided to, in this campaign, they decided to take like a complete 180 from what I expected them to do. They were like, okay, we're gonna go to this town. We're gonna go back and, save the people there. And I'm like, cool, I'll prepare that. And then they said, you know what? Let's go to this other town instead last minute. And I'm like, ah, great. So I that
That
was a big problem because it was like lots of things going on in that town that I suddenly had to prepare, like economies for multiple nations and all this stuff that was happening in the background. And I'm like, I don't have time to prepare that all in 1 week. So we had Pumpkin start DMing a little like side session for if I'm ever like not prepared.
that's fun.
Yeah, so we took a week off to do that. It was fun. I got to play a bear, just a bear.
Nice.
Mhm.
I've been playing Baldur's Gate recently too.
Mhm.
It's such a good game. Like I didn't think a video game could actually encapsulate what it feels like to play D&D. Uh, but it did it.
Really, I've been
Nothing
scared to try
scarier.
it because I was
It
like, it won't live up to it.
it does. I put it off for a while. It's amazing how much stuff they let you just find and do. I had to get rid of almost everything on Steam to do it, but you know what? It was worth it.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what's taking up all of my computer space right now. I cannot. I've got like megabytes free. That's
Oh
it.
jeez.
I don't know what is taking up all the space too, because the default Windows storage tools are not sufficient. It just says, "Hey, something's taking up all the space," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know, but tell me what. Where can I find it to get rid
Like
of it?"
no, something's taking up all the space.
Exactly. Yeah. At least it's not as bad as my laptop back in the day. I used to get it so full that it would say, "Hey, I'm too full to delete things," and I'm like, "What do you mean? What?
Not-
Now what?"
That's not how that works, laptop.
Uh-huh. Once you have like 20 bytes free of space, it figures, "Oh yes, I'm not able to mark something as being deleted anymore." I have to write,
Oh,
"Oh yes, this is deleted now," but it takes space to do that, so I can't do that. Sorry.
that's funny.
Yeah.
Horrible, but funny.
You don't want to let it to get to that point.
No, it's all good. I feel
Oh,
it.
he's here, and yet not in the same
He
room.
lives.
Yes, exactly.
Interesting. Well, hi. Nice to meet you, Dylan. How are you?
Hello.
I'm
I'm doing
Ethan,
okay.
or EJ. Blake was saying that you were
Oh.
really excited about this, which makes me happy, because I didn't want to feel or make you feel like you were forced into anything here. I was just,
No, no, no.
offering an
All
opportunity.
good. My dear, do you know if there is a
So
last
forward.
name that you've decided?
No, I forget.
Okay, that's all right. I was just curious because I know some of this stuff exists before my involvement, so I just want to know what's there, not there, before
Most of the
start
lore
throwing.
surrounding these characters is all made up by Light. I've basically when we started the campaign, I knew nothing about any other people's characters, and they just kind of gave me some little bits of information so we could begin. They start
Yeah,
out somewhere entirely different from, your kingdom and all that,
yeah,
and I've
yeah.
basically added bits of lore only as needed. I've made up a little, but a lot of it is just kind of Light's brainchild, and I've tried to adhere closely to the lore, so
I
to
think
make her
I
happy.
gave you a. I think I gave you a general paragraph or so, maybe two, before the campaign started, and then we started, and everyone else was like, "Yeah, there's a cult actually I'm a part of," and I'm like, "Oh, this is session one." I thought this would have been
Oh,
established already, and they're
Yeah,
like, "Actually, the cult works like this," and I'm like,
they brought the entitled goose into the world, and I'm like, why is there a god called the entitled goose? This makes no
And-
sense. And then they're like, oh
and-
yeah, I also have a cult that worships the entitled goose, but they call him something different, and I'm just like, oh, now I have to fit all this nonsense into the world. Great.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Don't worry. I think if anything, we're gonna bring a sense of balance to
Thank
the
goodness.
game.
I appreciate it when people take things seriously.
Yeah, we're gonna bring a sense of like seriousness and balance, but at the same time,
Memes.
sometimes we'll look at things and go, "Okay, fine, we'll deal with this." Sure. Like, why not? Today, I feel charitable.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's a
Also,
good
the
time.
the dynamic of the two of our characters is hopefully going to be refreshing.
Ooh.
yeah, it's something that's I think within this period of time that we're like this session 0 or side session, whatever you want to call it. We're gonna refine it during that.
Mm-hmm.
And then once we rejoin campaign, it's a case of like having it flesh out more because within the characters that they're based off of, they were like childhood friends sort of situation, and there weren't feelings expressed back then
Mm-hmm.
because my character's a little bit more on the logical side, hers is on the more
Emotional.
yeah. And so, things didn't really happen. They were also young too. So I think that'll be something to reflect in the game of just like, oh, I'm glad to have you here as my paladin.
Yeah.
Yeah, my bodyguard paladin. But then slowly come to realize, like, wait a second, I think I might care about you a little bit more than just as a bodyguard or a paladin.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where it's like, okay, maybe I don't want you like taking that blow for me, and sometimes I gotta do something to like keep you safe instead of you keeping me safe. So
Mm-hmm.
it'll be something to develop over time.
I can imagine her getting very upset. Adrian, I'm supposed to protect you. Why did you take that dagger from me, bro? Literally,
think-
that's my job.
I don't think that would happen.
No, but something to that effect of like, maybe instead of you taking a hit, it's like I cast a spell that takes the hit instead, and it's just like, why'd you do that? Like I could have handled it. It's like, well,
If you
gotta
die,
be a
I
man
die.
eventually. That's true.
yeah. It's like I know that. Of course, I know that, but.
Mhm.
It's something that we'll definitely like work on fleshing out because we don't want it to like we don't want to rush into the having this relationship thing.
Yeah.
Because it's never been their thing. They're never rushing into it.
Never. That's not who they are.
Yeah.
And even though they're older now and she has the obvious feelings for him, she is not going to act
Well, on top
on
of
them.
that, being very naive to feelings and emotions definitely makes that easier to keep hidden. Being
True.
someone of logic instead.
Very much so true for you.
Yes. So,
Yeah,
So it was-
I won't be trying to force anything as the DM. I'll just
No,
kind of let
no,
you guys
no.
play
Oh,
that
no.
out amongst yourselves.
It'll be a slow burn, essentially, is what we're saying.
That's the best
Yeah.
kind
Of,
anyway.
of getting to watch their romance.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm sure the
Well, that's
rest of the
just-
party will absolutely ship it and love it.
Oh, absolutely. Oh,
They might.
God.
They'll probably get involved. They'll be like trying to force you guys into a situation together. If you
Well,
like
do you want to
lock
see?
you in a
Do you want
room.
to see some character art for the two of them?
Sure.
I was also gonna say, man, history keeps just repeating itself, right, my dear?
Yeah, it'll never stop.
Oh, nice. Oh, he looks very stern.
He's very grumpy.
That's his newest picture. He had an older picture which we don't use anymore because it's literally been years since it was made. So
They all got a refresh recently, and those are their refresh pictures.
Awesome.
yeah, he has his time and his place and the people. That's what matters.
Yeah. Good king. Makes sense.
So he knows what to value.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of that, it's probably, I mean, just to give you more player agency and freedom, I'm probably not going to have you be both of you, as Carmen's just going to, like, magically appear in your cell with you, and you're going to be like, bruh. I'm probably not going to leave you guys, like, trapped and unable to do anything or unable to leave. So if you do have the freedom, would you immediately just like book it and get out of that place and go back to your kingdom, or like if I present you some kind of interesting situation going on in this place, would you still want to figure out who kidnapped you and why? I mean, obviously
That
with the sending stone to communicate with your kingdom and say, "Hey, I'm good."
yeah, maybe like acquire that later on after figuring things out. Like,
Well, I
yeah,
have a sending
oh,
stone.
okay, yeah, yeah,
I have a cell stone.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's definitely something that would be as a member of nobility, it would probably be a good idea to figure out exactly what happened, especially if you have backup. So I think it wouldn't be a far-fetched idea to like have them actively look into it.
Gotcha, cool. Because my plan was to, kind of have you be presented with opportunities to basically free yourself from imprisonment, and then you have the freedom to kind of explore the area and do whatever you want to. But in the process of that, your characters would possibly have the option to just force their way off of the area and never look back. So then you might never
Yeah.
run into the rest of the party again.
No, I don't think rushing back is exactly the plan. Especially if Carmen's like, "Hey, I have these other people. I want to help them at the same time. You clearly don't want to stay cooped up right this second, I'm sure, after all that. And you've gotten a taste for adventure." Then again, she might not say anything. That's all for light to
I
determine.
mean, honestly, it depends on how their reunion goes.
That's true.
But if Adrian was like, yeah, I want to figure out what's going on and why, she would absolutely support that, because a threat to her prince is a threat to the crown, and a threat to the crown is not something she can stand for.
I will also say that with I'm gonna start trying to refer to him by the name that you're gonna be referring to him by,
Adrian.
Adrian.
You could always change the name. I don't really care.
No, honestly, since Light Road Adrian is the name, I'm willing to just run with it. It's fine.
It's gonna help keep a mental buffer, so if I start talking about Adrian with him, and then
Yeah.
Kingsley is the other name, we're not cross-contaminating our information.
That's a good point.
Yeah, our games, yeah. So with Adrian, just given how this character exists in my head, it's a case of you've wronged me / made things very not good for certain other people that I know, and vengeance is a dish best served cold. Like he is definitely the vengeful one, especially if something were to happen to somebody he actually cared about, let alone if it was to him. So
Interesting. Okay.
yeah, if you do something like that, I'm going to seek some form of recompense out of this. So so that's why it's like, yeah, if given a chance to investigate into that stuff, I think that would be
Cool.
definitely a good option.
I'm partially interested in the idea of you like already beginning your investigation before Carmen shows up and then she joins in, but again, I don't want to like have a big delay in terms of having one of your players not just sitting there not doing anything, so I'd rather just kind of start the action there, probably.
Yeah, I mean, so something you could do is if you wanted to offer like additional information at the beginning, just something like he's overheard or this or that, or even then, I know Light's not like. I'm sure Light would.
It could have been that leaving your cell like without additional backup would have been a bad idea in your mind.
Yeah.
So you've limited your information gathering to the things you can hear and see in the nearby area without going too far. So that way you still have that little bit of.
As long as I don't have to make perception checks.
For wisdom.
I have a bad habit of making characters with very low wisdom. You okay, Cat? Sorry, Cat made a sound on. She's hunched over. I'm like, you okay? So,
I love that the cat is named Cat. That's gonna be so confusing once you actually meet Cat, the player.
Oh, fair, yeah. That'll really confuse Cat. She'll be like, "What? You wanted my attention?"
Oh no.
Okay. He comes from obviously a lineage, right? And so we thought about the fact that it's like, well, if he's coming from this lineage of royalty, well, why not have sorcerer as part of that? Because within our own mental canonicity, his sister, his parents, they were all very capable people within math and science sort of fields.
Mm-hmm.
And so just going into a D&D sense, we just figured, oh, well, if you throw in that into D&D, then just say it's a hereditary thing, which becomes sorcerer essentially, as far as talents and skills.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, so maybe take a few levels of sorcerer, enough so that it's not just one level of it, maybe like 3 levels
Mm-hmm.
to get to like meta magic,
Mm-hmm.
just because bloodline stuff, and then from there going into artificer and just kind of focusing into that as like his own his own personal uh desires for learning.
Gotcha. One of the other players has started playing an artificer as well. I don't know if that affects how you want to approach
No, I
things.
don't think so, because from what I've seen with our artificers, they are generally pretty diverse. Like there's a lot of options with
Mm-hmm.
how you can play them. Not to mention like the actual like equipment you can make is in of itself changes up how you play.
Yeah.
Because like you can play one that's highly focused into the magic side of things, or into the melee side of things, or even playing ranged. So it's
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of diversity there. So I don't think anything's stepping on anyone's toes per se.
Awesome.
Especially the subclass you were looking at for artificer is kind of unique. I think
Yeah.
that's the way you phrased it.
Unique is a word for it. It's definitely focused into its goal. So
Cool. Care to enlighten me on what this is?
yeah, so it's I was looking at homebrew ones because it's
Mm.
I wanted to find one that kind of fit with Adrian and how I imagine him as a person and
Mm-hmm.
his heritage and all that. I'm just gonna post the link here and go from there.
Siegebreaker.
Yeah.
Interesting. Bell
Oh yeah.
grenades. I love it.
Yeah, spell grenades are cool. Surgical strike is like, oh, this can actually be useful now.
I'm already struggling to balance as it is with the encounters.
No,
Cool.
I feel like the grenades is like, okay, that's not going to be used all the time, because there is some level of balance to it where it's like it has to be a damaging spell and it has to require a save throw. So it's like, okay, there's some restrictions there.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not disparaging that. I'm absolutely okay with you choosing this, and
Yeah.
I'll deal with it. I'll find a way.
My spell list is already going to be slightly hampered, so having access to these is kind of nice.
Yeah. I
And
am
then
actually
with-
going to have some custom spells in the game too that at
Oh,
some
cool.
point you might be able to discover and or utilize, even if it's not part of your class, because these are custom spells that don't have a specific class associated with them. So,
Okay. Yeah, they're it count technically their spells. It's more like, learned an ability kind of thing. Like it's like,
Yeah.
oh, you did this quest, cool, you got a new ability that it's gonna be
Yeah.
yeah, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. As
Makes
far
sense.
as, do you have any like custom items or anything that you want to have had on you basically when you were kidnapped? You might not
Oh
have
boy,
had them on you when you're in your cell, because a normal
valid.
person might take away your stuff. But um, yeah, is there any like cool gear or important like historical items or kingly mechanics you got? I don't know. Fancy magic ring.
That's a good question. It's not something I've thought about.
I definitely say think about it, because I know I gave Light a magic pendant at the very beginning of the game before we
Mhm.
even like started doing anything,
Okay.
which
Yeah.
blocks some damage, I think, from magic spells.
Reduces damage done by pure magic-based attack by 5. Applies to spells like Eldritch Blast. Does not apply to magically conjured things like fire or thorns.
Cool. Honestly,
Fun.
that might need to scale a little bit as
Yeah.
things increase. Cat, blew me out of the water. She did. Oh, okay. I forgot. She actually did it wrong. She did an Eldritch Blast the other day that did 24 damage, and I was like, what the heck? But theoretically, she should have only been able to do 20 max. So she did it wrong, but I was still like, oh dear, this is ruining my balancing for combat.
Yeah, I was like, oh no.
Yeah, we're getting to the higher levels.
Yeah, I'll think of something. Probably nothing like overly strong or anything. Just like
I mean,
something flavorful, if anything.
if you want something strong, that's okay because the party has already, got a
Collected
dragon
some stuff.
horde. Yeah, they've got a couple neat things. So if you want something fancy, then yeah, I mean, it might
Okay.
not make sense to like be geared to the teeth for battle if you were kidnapped when you
No.
were just reading in your library in your palace, having a chill day. But it's whatever
Just
you want.
doesn't mean that I can't scrounge something up later on.
Yeah, just planning on nuking the library later.
Just grab myself the nuke spell. The thing with the-
Arithmetic soul.
yes. Want to pull it in just a little bit to the
Hmm.
styling.
Cool. I guess I got some reading ahead of me.
As I said, you only have to go to like the third level of it because
Mhm.
I think I can only go up to my sorcerer level with it, so it's like equal to
see.
or less than.
The universal equation. Ah, now I'll need to make up what that is.
It's true. You can make it whatever you want if you're okay with running with both of those
Yeah,
subclasses.
I mean, I haven't read them yet, but I'm assuming they'll be fine. I'll check them out
Yeah,
after. I'll make it work with whatever.
okay. Yeah, you did mention that you've been adjusting very hard for some of the things that people have done, and then on
I
top
was
of that, the
surprised
chaos.
with, occults and gods and all these things in the first session, and that has completely directed the course of the campaign, like, into left field. So we've
Okay.
got,
I
gods that
felt
I
like
never
I
expected
was-
to exist. We've got, the material plane.
Sometimes I felt like I was the most normal character, and I'm like, and I'm gonna die if someone else dies, and I'm the straight man here.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's gonna be super interesting if we get into combat with you guys, because if the bad guys know about that connection, they'll just be like, "Hey, target the prince," then they'll kill 2 people instead of 1.
Yeah.
If they know.
And the party
But
better
then-
make sure they heal you.
Yeah, but then that's also why Carmen's gonna
So-
be like right in front of me, just like
So I get to be level 7, you said?
Yes, both of you can be level 7.
Oh.
Of course, technically, why does the prince need a bodyguard if he's also level 7? But shush, don't worry about that.
listen, he's a scrawny nerdling.
Roll 20 at all, EJ?
I really don't like Roll20 personally, but if that's the best you've got, I don't really want to have to log into it repeatedly.
That's fair.
I don't know. I'm willing to deal with whatever, because honestly, I'm gonna trust you to take care of your own character sheet for the most part. I don't usually go in and mess with people's stuff.
That's fair.
For the most part.
Do you have a preference on what race he would be? Would you prefer just basic human?
Well,
The human in my backstory?
yeah, I think he may have already been established, but
I would say
if-
like variant human if allowed.
Yeah. I would
choose
allow that. I thought you were saying like if you wanted to be
No,
like an
I
orc
didn't
or
want to
something,
make
and
him-
I'm like,
Yeah.
so you're in a kingdom of all humans, and your parents are humans, and your bodyguards, and you're something else.
dragonborn.
Yeah, how did that happen? But I mean, you were captured for a while. Who knows? Maybe they did some weird magic to you.
No.
You're an elf now. They super glued little tips on your ears.
Oh my god.
I could give
And
you
then
some
stats.
lore about the world, like things that your character might know if you want, but that might have to wait a little bit because I'm still
Working.
I'm still
on it.
panicking in the background and trying to flesh out multiple towns of lore in the background because my players decided to surprise me and go somewhere I never expected, and now I'm like,
No, valid.
so
valid.
there's a lot I still need to kind of flesh out, but I
Yeah,
can give you some basic knowledge that you would know or like information about
Okay,
culture
yeah.
of Lunas. But honestly, Light also could tell you the same thing,
Yeah.
and you could update me about that kind of thing. So yeah, feel free to, if you ever have something that you want to make up about the world or about your Lunamis or anything like that, just let me know. And or just even say it in the middle of the session. Just be like, "Oh yeah, we always do this in Lunamus," and I'll be like, "Yep, let me write that down. That totally happens, I guess."
As
Yeah.
of right now, this has happened for hundreds of years.
As of this very second,
Yep.
this has always been the case.
People have made up curse words that I've had to adapt to. It's ridiculous. Desert here. Dearth is somewhere to the south of
Sure.
Lunamus.
Sorry. I heard Dirth's name and I was like, I hate Dirth.
Yeah, Dearth is the like. So
They're causing problems.
Yeah, Lunamus is the kingdom that's that you guys are in, and it's like what I've been told is that it's got like focus on protection magic. They're always kind of like inventing new ways to keep themselves safe, and developing their enchantments or whatever. Dearth is kind of like the polar opposite as a result of kind of being a kingdom raising near there. They're basically more of a weapons guild. They're trying to develop more and more powerful weapons. So it's kind of like an arms race. One's focusing on defense to, stop the weapons, and the others is trying to build more powerful weapons. And they've largely left each other alone for a while because nobody really wants to mess with each other. And, Lunamus is like, Dearth's not even worth the effort. They can't possibly defeat us. And Dearth's like, these people are so snobby, we're not going to trade with them, we're not going to do anything with them, we're just going to kind of leave them at this line.
Dearth's greatest weakness is with our defenses taken care of. That's when real warriors can be trained and made.
Anyway.
Yeah, that was something that Light had mentioned is like, oh yeah, you've got this great defenses, so you as the king can focus on the offensive side of things.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
I was in the process of establishing in the last session because the other players kind of came and found this boiling conflict now that the king's been stolen and people are blaming it on Dearth. I was saying that Lunamus hadn't focused as much on offensive capabilities because of their, protection magic, so I was letting the Artificer start to help out with making weapons because they're kind of taking sides in the war. But if you would like to say that there is more offensive capability of Lunamus, saying I can adjust that a little bit.
No. I think focusing on the defense, I think it's a personal thing.
I think he's trying to change the opinion of everyone by saying, look at me, take the steps to be offensive, and so we can bring that now to our kingdom.
Gotcha. Okay.
We can be capable in more than just a defensive situation.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, sounds good.
What is the point of being an unmovable object if we do not also have the ability to fight back?
Then I'll be ready to go on the second. Hopefully, we'll see how it goes. I only live here. I'm only the DM of the universe. I don't know what I'm doing.
I just exist. I'm the janitor. That's
Cleaning up the messes the party makes. Yes, that's
yeah, exactly.
My goal is to make a good experience for my players. If I succeed at that, then we're good.
Yeah.
We can manage weekly, I believe.
We're fine with whatever. We're not going to make you suddenly have to develop 3 new kingdoms in one session.
Oh yeah, I mean, to be fair, since you're going to be stuck, captured for a bit and then in a location, if I have just this location fleshed out really well, I should be good for at least like 10 sessions worth of content. Well, of course I say that now, but it's probably going to end up like completely getting destroyed the moment everyone makes contact with the players.
Yeah.
And then the other players hopefully will meet you in that same location at some point, depending on how long they dilly-dally doing other things before they actually decide to go to this location. So we'll see how it goes.
To be fair, we could also move in their direction if we really needed to.
I really don't know. I mean, there's some plot-relevant things that I want to happen at that location, which would require the rest of the party to be there. But, I can never fully force things to happen. I just have to do my best and hope.
You really just hold your hands out in front of the fire they created and you just hope that it's warming your hands at some point.
Just like I could just make like 3 new civilizations for you to have to
deal
with.
No.
Like just in the backstory and just
just
EJ,
like...
if he hurts you like that, you let me know. I'll help you build them out.
I could always make 1 and just be like,
if you do, I'm helping EJ because that's mean. That's mean, and you know better.
It actually does not bother me. It makes me happy when I'm given things, as long as they're not like things that really conflict with the world that I've already established, and then I have to like cram it in there somehow and shift everything around. But if you just like, hey, there's another town that does this cool thing, I'll be like, cool, I'll have that location there and I'll use that someday. So
Yeah,
it does not bother me to have extra things added in as long as it
Yeah.
doesn't cause me to bend over
Especially if it's
backwards.
already like partially fleshed out, right?
Yeah, yeah, especially if I have plot lines or contacts or anything, any starting point, rather than just saying, "Hey, there's a place." Oh, now what?
Here's a name. Good luck.
Yeah.
Like, remember when I was investigating the mystery with the cult at like the start of this whole shenanigans, and I was the
Yeah, I
only
was
one.
so disappointed that we never got to actually conclude that mystery because the cult kind of just,
But like, I
took
was
everything
doing
into
so
left
good.
field.
Like, I found the secret passage. I gathered
Mhm.
evidence. I almost had it solved, and then the cult showed up, and I was like, man.
Who did you think did it, by the way? Like,
Oh,
if you were
oh,
saying
oh
you almost had
gosh.
it solved.
Oh gosh. Hold
I
on.
know
I'm
it's been like
thinking.
years since
Yes, it's been
that.
years, but I'm thinking. I'm getting there. I'm pretty sure. I thought it was the maid.
It was. I guess you probably found
Yes.
that out later because they were part of the cult, so that might be cheating. But yeah, it was absolutely the maid. But you
I
did
remember her
also.
being.
There was a different person you talked to, and you rolled insight on them, and they beat your insight with their
Yeah.
perception. So you were like, they're not suspicious at all. And I'm not gonna, give you any more spoilers than that. But there's more interesting things going on than just
There's
what
always
was on the
interesting
surface.
things going on.
Yeah.
That's
It's
the
a
life of a
D&D
DM.
world.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If there's not at
Exactly.
least like 4 plot threads available at any given time for you to choose and struggle between, is it really a good game?
Yes.
I low-key
Yeah.
feel like I'm stressing out the other players by keep continually saying, "Hey, there's something else you could do. Hey, there's something else you could do." And they're just like, "Leave us alone." But
No,
I
you're
don't.
not
I don't
stressing
want to
them out.
railroad them.
You're giving them so many options. They don't know what to choose.
This is what happens when they don't have someone to make choices for them.
Oh yeah, that is true. You
Fair.
were
'Cause
very much the leader.
I was the choice maker.
I'm sure Adrian will help with that.
That's true.
I mean, he is
Oh,
a king.
you're gonna have to make choices.
As a future king, I choose.
If you
Very
pulled
fun.
that, I'm the future king. And I choose this, Carmen's absolutely gonna cuff you on the head and be like, and you are choosing wrong.
Okay, why am I choosing wrong? Because this, and this, but we're still gonna do this because it's actually the right choice.
You don't know that.
I don't have to. I know it in my soul.
He's like, I can prove it with a logic, and she's like, we are not sacrificing the orphans. I will continue fiddling away in the background and trying to make sure that I'm up to date. Oh, and
Huzzah.
another thing is, the whole reason I started the campaign that you were in Light with all the other players, I had this
Mhm.
idea for this location that you guys are going to be at. And I was like, oh, this is a really interesting location. And I had all these cool fleshed out ideas about it. And then for like 2-3 years, it's just been waiting. This whole mystery, this whole environment, this plot thread has just been sitting there waiting for someone to get to it because there's been all this other campaign before you actually get to that location, so everyone's just been kind of exploring these other places. It's never been touched, so I really need to review my old notes, but I am excited for this location that you guys will be at, and hopefully everyone else will meet up and it won't immediately crash and burn.
Hello.
Hi, how's it going?
Going pretty well. I was just trying to finalize things because I've been putting things off.
Same. I wished I
I
had
had
more time
million
these past
other
2
things.
weeks to actually prepare, but I was with my family and they took up almost all my time.
No, I get you. I get you. That was just
Still
something
haven't
I.
had a chance to read through those and check it out, gotta be honest.
It's fair. It's fair. It's erupting earth and protection from energy, so
Okay.
not like
Cool.
earth-shattering spells or anything like that.
Literally it is.
You got me there. That one might be way too strong. Here's the weaker one.
So I don't think actually anyone else has a magical weapon that gives a plus modifier to their attack or damage rolls yet, which is crazy because I've given lots of magical items, but half of them the party just leaves behind, and I'm like, what the heck? Why am I giving magic items?
Yeah, that's that's ridiculous. At the same time, I have a -1 to my strength, so it's not like,
Mhm.
and even then, Adrian isn't a melee fighter.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
he's not. He wouldn't be using it for anything like that unless it was like an absolute like had to, and even then, it's not
Okay.
doing
Okay.
anything crazy for him. Yeah,
Interesting.
it's mostly the secondary effects, and even then, as I said, it's probably really strong, and I would be completely okay with the secondary thing just because it's just a lot. it's also just a fun thing.
I like it. I'm okay with the item, but I would need to make some changes to make it fit with the campaign, because
Yeah,
there are,
that's
I can't give any spoilers, but it has the potential to cause a couple game breaking effects.
which is just fun.
Yeah,
Uh,
I love removal rods. I tried to give the party one and they didn't take it.
they're like, why would we need this for? It's like, well, there are moments.
Well, I tried to give the party like lots of magical items so far, and half of them they have ignored. Half of them they broke or used immediately. The other half they just left in their bags, didn't ever bother examining or figuring out how to use. And I'm just like, this is kind of hard to. What if we combine the two items? Like, I nerf some of the abilities that might cause. Well, I mean, just nerf some of the abilities. I can't tell you which ones
Yeah,
might cause
yeah, I
problems
guess.
because that might be spoilers. But I'll just nerf it a bit, but then we can instead give it the ability to be a movable rod if you want to.
That would be cool.
Think?
Yeah, yeah, I
So
would,
then it's
I would
just
absolutely.
a buffed version of an immovable rod. I am excited,
Um,
but I do feel a little underprepared. But I think I can make it through at
Same.
least the first section, and I'll just lay out the tracks ahead of me
Yeah.
like that dog on the train. Just I wanted to ask why he is choosing it, that's or choosing or forced into it one way or another. Why is Lillian currently assuming the role of leadership instead of him? Is he just kind of like taking some time to focus on his studies and find himself, or like is it by choice? What's the like reasoning as to why he's not yet in charge?
I would say it's a combination of some of those factors. Part of it is he's lived most of his life in that sort of like nobility in castles and states and that sort of stuff, and he hasn't really had a chance to see more of the world and be more world knowledgeable. And so it became a case where, like, I guess it's what, his father died, his mother died, both of them, something like that.
Yeah,
um
Light didn't give me too many details. She just said they all died in a car accident or a carriage accident, and I was like, okay.
no, that's yeah, that's his backstory.
Mhm.
So in that moment, um he's he has that opportunity now where Lillian stepped up and said, hey, listen, I'm willing to run things for a bit, and I know how to do that. I do want to go back to doing what I want to do, but I'm willing to give you your time to go and see the world and experience things. And when you're ready, you can come back and take this. Like, I'm not going to keep it away from you.
Gotcha.
And so I'd say at this point, Adrian was thinking on it, and then this occurred. And so this is kind of that moment of like, okay, well, I'm already out here. Carmen's already helped me. I may as well just go through with it.
Gotcha. Cool. Of course.
Yeah.
If you have
Change my
Carmen
mind.
lose her items as well, then you would lose the opportunity to send out a message to say, "Hey, we're alive."
Yeah, exactly. So we could always like have to get to that point of actually collecting stuff. And, yeah, it's its own thing. We'll figure it out.
Cool. All right. Well, I'm excited for
Yeah.
tomorrow. I'll try to do some last minute prep in between getting off work and doing it, which realistically ain't gonna happen, but we'll see what happens.
No, I get you. I get you, man.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna have that moment of just like, okay, we'll get home, we'll make dinner, and oh, it's time to start session. Oh,
Yes.
oh boy.
It's game time.
Oh no.
Hey, worst comes to worst, I'll just let you guys role play a little bit because I'm sure there will be some time that you guys would need to like adjust to the situation and your characters again.
Yeah,
To
exactly.
establish the dynamic before we actually like get into combat and death saving throws and whatever. Immediately kills everyone.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, they just decided execution time. Cool, got it. Okay, well,
Yeah,
this
that's
was
why we kidnapped
fun.
you, just so we could have a really long and drawn out execution like 3 weeks later.
It's every supervillain's plot.
Yes. Just
Why
set
did I
up
capture you?
a long
It's
Rube
like a-
Goldberg machine. Hi.
Right on cue.
How's it going? You did the eyes. I had to.
I was like, it's 6. I've just been sitting here staring at the clock for the past 3 minutes.
Yeah. I've been sitting here too, pretty much.
Did you have
Yeah.
to deal with the bagel witch today?
The
No.
what? Sounds like your real life is more interesting than my D&D campaign. Oh, I forgot to ask. Do you guys mind if I record the session just like so I can look back and remember the names of things that I make up on the spot? I usually
Oh,
like to
that's
do that
fine.
so I can
Yeah.
like remember what I've done as a DM because it saves my butt like more
Yeah.
than you know.
You're
Okay,
absolutely
perfectly fine.
a-okay.
cool. Thanks.
Because I know we have a different DM who's like, hey, if it's not part of like these sets, we're probably not gonna do it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
So.
a little potentially too open about my rulings. I'm pretty easygoing and negotiable
Yeah.
about most things. And I
No,
enjoy
it's all
you
good.
guys taking the opportunity to make up lore about your kingdom and the world as well, like collaboratively. So as
We
long as it
love
doesn't,
lore.
yeah, it's always fun to kind of work together instead of me being the only one who's allowed to make stuff up. I
Yeah.
would like to know what they are though, so I'm not blindsided by suddenly
Yeah.
learning
It's
that you can become a giraffe.
no,
I can
I
adapt a lot,
I
but
don't have
giraffes are too far.
polymorph. It's a magnified gravity and immovable object. I think it's called. Yeah, immovable object.
I see.
Yeah,
Might be
it's
redundant with your staff, but still useful. Yeah.
Let's get crack-a-lackin'.
Alrighty, I'm ready to go. So, I guess we'll start with you, Prince Adrian. Is this the right vibe of music for what's happening? Probably not.
I actually can't hear the music on
Oh,
my end.
really? Huh. Well,
You
It
hear
might
it.
be, it might be because I have some other music going on. That might be.
You
why.
probably
Let
have it.
me-
that's okay.
I like
mean,
it.
you can keep your other music for now if you want. I'm about to mute this music because I feel like it's not the right vibes for a kidnapping. This is like nice hearth chatting music, but
there we go. I did it like halfway. I was like,
mhm.
that's why. Because usually I have that secondary sort of stuff.
Gotcha. Yeah, usually I don't use this, but I felt like it might be necessary. Well, at some point. It depends on what happens. I don't know. It's probably not going to become relevant, and I'm probably not going to have time to bother with it. But anyway, Prince Adrian, you are the up-and-coming, soon-to-be king of Lunimus. You are pretty easygoing, probably, in your day-to-day life. It sounds to me from our previous conversation that you were interested in going out to see the world and adventure a little bit, but you'd never gotten around to it. The best you got was, leaving the kingdom walls every once in a while and taking a horse ride around the kingdom every day or so, depending on your
Every so
preference.
often. Yeah.
But this day in particular, you weren't feeling quite so well, so you decided to stay in and read in the library instead, accompanied, of course, by your faithful companion Carmen. All of a sudden, you just heard a commotion outside the door, and the door burst open, and coming into the room was just a blur. Suddenly, a large sack was kind of slammed over your head before you could even react, and you're like, "What the frick is happening?" And then you were in a bag that was quickly sealed up, blocking away the light. As your eyes adjusted to the darkness, and Carmen kind of collapsed beside you, now no longer with you in the same place, you looked around and saw two rough and tumble looking adventurers of some kind. They were dressed, one was a Goliath, one was a human man, and they were both kind of staring at you a little awkwardly, weapons in hand, and they began to question you as the bag jostled a little bit with you in motion. I suppose you had your staff on you, but maybe like in a collapsed down form. I guess I'm deciding that it can just kind of be folded down because you don't really need it in the library. But
Yeah.
somehow it
Yeah.
was on your person. I'm just adding more abilities to the staff as we go. So the first thing, as you're kind of coming to your senses and trying to comprehend what has just happened, with your slightly dulled senses with being the most minorly sick today, the they ask, why would someone want to kidnap you?
Directed at me,
At
the
you,
kidnapper.
yes. The kidnapper is asking you why they are kidnapping you. As you hear sounds of guards yelling and, things falling in the background outside of this bag of holding that you're in, potentially.
Bag of holding. Anything can be a bag of holding as long as you're willing to.
As long as you got a Goliath carrying you.
Yeah, right. I think if anything, he doesn't
feel obligated to answer his kidnappers
Hmm.
such a question, because it's just kind of outlandish feeling
Hmm.
to be asked by your kidnappers. Why would someone want to kidnap you? Like, it feels more like a rhetorical question than anything. I'm just like, man, I wonder, do I want to kidnap this guy? So, I think in the moment, Adrian doesn't really feel inclined to respond to his kidnappers more than a let me out.
Yeah. They say that ain't gonna happen, buddy, and they quickly, lay hands on you and try to begin tying you up. You're
I don't
welcome
need
to
healing, though.
resist if you want. Huh?
Um, I just made a dumb joke of I don't need healing. Lay on hands.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah, yeah. That was me being dumb.
That was a silly joke.
Yes, that's my normal silly joke. Um,
I respect it.
yeah. I think if anything, he would probably try to resist whatever's going on.
Okay. Uh, if it's just raw strength, then go ahead and give me a conflicting roll. But there are two of them,
Okay.
so good luck.
I mean, it's a 16.
Hey, not bad.
That's with the -1.
Yeah,
So
unfortunately, one of them is
a Goliath. So
yeah, so they do
yeah.
manage to kind of restrain you and just kind of wrap some ropes around you, which tighten rather quickly. They don't seem to be like trying to hurt you or anything. They're not being like terribly rough. They're just, you know, keeping you restrained. Um,
Yeah.
they they are kind of like, yeah, it ain't happening. You're not getting out of here, buddy. We're just getting paid here though, so we don't know why this person, or like we're just getting paid to kidnap you. So we were just wondering, do you have any suspicions about like why they might be kidnapping you?
Like in my own head with this one,
Yeah.
instead of being directly asked.
Well, I
um,
mean, they are still asking you this. They're not talking to each other. They're talking at you.
um,
For context, there was a one shot where you got kidnapped. So this is basically what they said.
yeah, gotcha. I suppose his response then would be I'm I'm just contemplating in my head. Do I throw an accent out there, or do I just kind of just be me?
Do what you do best.
Do what I do best. That's called doing an accent, and you know that, my dear. Even though my accents are horrible. Uh,
That's not
um,
true.
I suppose his response to them would be, well, considering that you're kidnapping me, I suppose your employer would know.
Yeah, well, do you have any suspicion about like who that might be? Because we're not looking to, start a huge war or anything. We just want to get paid. We're not trying to start too much trouble.
I'm sorry, do you even know who it is that you've kidnapped?
Some prince. I guess that's who you are, right? We got the right guy. You got the getup for it.
The fact that you managed to find me. I am to be the future heir to the kingdom.
Cool. Glad to know.
And that does not inspire any confidence in myself.
They don't know what
if
else to say.
yes,
Sorry.
if you truly are worried about a conflict, a war breaking out, I would recommend that you not do this.
Okay, but okay. Well, maybe we'll break you out after this. We're just you know, we're doing this. We don't have many details about this whole situation. It seems a little sketchy, but a payday's a payday.
Ah, mercenaries.
Yes. You might find that strange, though, considering how well defended Lunimus is, and as far as you know, it hasn't been infiltrated in many, many years with all the security in place and the protection
Mm-hmm.
enchantments for that. So the fact that
Wards.
anyone managed to get in, let alone some random dudes, is very shocking.
Yeah.
Someone needs to get fired.
Yes. Well, I have notes for later then. I don't really have anything on me to offer, so I suppose I should just get comfortable then.
And to speed things along, they kidnap you, true to their word. There's some shenanigans with crazy noises. You hear some animal bellowing and roaring and who knows what, fires potentially, and eventually the chaos seems to subside and the mercenaries climb out of the bag, leaving you alone in what amounts to a 10-foot wide-ish black void with darkness all around, and you're still tied up. For a couple hours, you hear the bag kind of change hands, perhaps a couple times, some faint muffled conversations through the bag, and eventually, when the bag is opened again, you are presented with a a gruff orc who just kind of peers down into the bag with a disgruntled expression, notes that you're there, nods, and immediately closes the bag again without a word to you. Um, some more rustling and waiting. You might need to go to the bathroom at some point, but you are passed off to another set of footsteps. Seems larger and heavier. Eventually, you are basically dumped out. The bag is opened, and you are unceremoniously slid out onto the floor, still wrapped in the ropes and sliding across some smooth stone marble tiles on your face. And you hear a voice, trembling a little bit, go, "Oh, I am so sorry. Let me get to that for you." And he immediately, like a pair of hands, kind of try to lift you up back onto your feet, or if you're able to keep your balance. And the ropes are beginning to get loosened as you see before you what looks like a well-dressed kind of automaton of some kind, made of clay. You are estimating based on the feel of his little hands. Yeah, he's like 4 feet tall.
I love him.
Says, "I'm so sorry about your prior treatment. I wasn't intending to slam you on the floor. Let me brush you off here." And he removes the ropes from you and is trying to brush off your.
What a little guy.
I
Yes,
trust
well,
your
it was.
travel was pleasant.
I do hope that you're using sarcasm. Could have been gentler with me.
I apologize. That was not my forte. I was just giving you just now, and I was not very prepared for what might be in this bag. But hello, it is good to meet you. I am Clayton, the butler. I will be assisting you with anything you might need. I will provide you as much sustenance as you require, and anything else can be answered for you as you see fit. What's your name, good sir?
Oh yeah, because I forgot to ask this before. Does Adrian have an established last name?
Oh,
Nope. I never gave him one.
guess it's up to you. If there was one, I forgot it.
That's a good question because I don't think we would use the original
No.
last name.
I mean, I just refer to him as Prince Adrian of Lunamis, so maybe Adrian Lunamis if you want. It's your kingdom, named after you. Not you, but
the
like your family.
bloodline.
Yeah.
Could always do that.
You could. That might make it confusing if you're referring to the person or the kingdom, though.
Yeah, but then you would refer to him as my liege or my prince or my lord or your highness.
Lord Lunamis.
Lord Lunamis.
Yeah, I mean it could work. Why not, right?
Okay, sure. Why not? Adrian Lunamis.
I am Prince Adrian Lunamis of the Lunamis Kingdom.
Well, pleasure to make your acquaintance, sir. Might I get you anything? Water? Steak, perhaps? Not in a cup, of course. Two separate categories here.
Yes, I assumed so. I'm sorry, why why have my captors determined that your servitude would be applicable?
Well, I am here to, um, let's say, smooth the way after the harsh treatment you were given. I am hoping that I will be able to assist you and make my employer's offers much more applicable or much more um, appealing to your palate. I'll be
Ah,
honest. I am not entirely privy to every bit of information about this whole situation, but I am here to assist you with anything I can.
that is all right. I understand at least a basis of what you are claiming. If you insist on bringing something, feel free.
Very well. Right this way, please. And he gestures to a little door in this small hallway that you have found yourself in. It seems to be a rather rich, pristine area with, like I said, marble floors. There are ornate woodwork along the walls. There are tapestries laid out and hung every few feet. Whatever the place this is, it seems very rich and orderly. There are expensive furnitures, little gold inlays on places. It's very,
Ornate and
yeah,
lavish.
indeed. So,
Yes.
he leads you down a small hallway towards what appears to be a large banquet hall. Your bladder might still be complaining a bit, but you can ask where the restroom is at some point as well if you'd like, or first.
That's fair. Maybe during the prep time.
Yes. So the little butler kind of hobbles forward on his tiny little legs and leads you into a large, like, dining hall with a about 20-foot long table and many chairs set across it, but only one place that actually seems to have uh, a silverware set and a nice, like, silk cloth laid out across the chair. And he gestures to it for you to sit upon, and there doesn't appear to be anyone else in this room. There are a couple doors leading off to other rooms of the mansion, kind of, it looks like, potentially, or just some house. There aren't any windows here, though. What would
Hmm.
you like to do? Oh, and they did take your items, by the way, at some point. Sorry,
Yeah.
forgot to mention
No, it's
that.
no, it's all good. I assumed.
Gotcha.
Well, um, so yeah, it's a dining room, one table set. Okay. Um, where where may be a restroom I may use?
Oh, that would be right behind you, actually. We just came from there. And he gestures to the door just before you entered the dining room.
Right. Well, I need to use it, and I shall not tarry too long.
Very well. I will be waiting right out here. Then we have much business to discuss. I'll try to get your food ready in the meantime.
Yes. And
So,
he takes his leave.
yeah. It's a pretty standard bathroom. Unfortunately, no easy escape routes unless you can flush yourself down the toilet somehow.
No, no, no. I can't. I can't. I don't have polymorph, so I can't become a rat. So
gaseous form. Mm.
yeah, I can't do that either.
Hmm.
So sadly.
Yes.
Um.
But part of you might
Either
also
way.
be curious of the situation in general.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because if anything, I'd say like parts of the hierarchy have probably been taught like just kind of go with it, especially if they're going to treat you nicely. Just kind of go with it.
Hmm.
Yeah. What's the worst that can happen? They're not going to kill you, obviously, if they're going to put you in a lavish situation,
Hmm.
or at least not yet.
Hmm.
You'll have time to figure something out.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, a bounty's paid, you go free.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough.
Um. So,
I didn't mean to cut you off. It sounded like you were about to
no,
say
no, no,
suggest something else. Did you have something
no.
else you wanted to do?
All good.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, he would take care of himself, and maybe while in there, just as a test,
Hmm.
um, because I have technically I can still cast magic without a focus, right? Just as long as it's hand gestures and vocal, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I guess just like as a test of things, he would maybe use like a detect magic
Ah.
to see if there's anything that he can sense. It's within 30 feet of him, so
Yeah. So yeah, it would be good to have that active as you're going through the mansion. It looks like in this bathroom in particular, there doesn't appear to be anything enchanted in the bathroom itself.
okay. Yeah, it'll last up to 10 minutes. So
Cool. Yeah.
yeah,
So that'll be active as you go through the rest of your or 10 minutes of your time here.
yeah.
I feel like I'm
Um,
leaving out light a little bit.
Oh no, I'm enjoying myself.
Okay. We are keep catching up on
Yeah.
weeks of
No,
time.
I'm giggling. This
Okay,
is
cool.
great.
But you know what? We can also catch up with Light because Light, you experienced that same situation where you were watching over the king. I mean, the prince, whatever.
Hmm.
He's both. As he was reading his book on 101 uses for snails or snail facts or something like that. And suddenly the door burst open. Your hand went to the hilt of your sword, and you were ready to fight. And suddenly someone cast a sleep spell on you, and you were
Yeah.
like, "No!"
I remember listening to the one shot. I listened to it again in preparation.
Oh, really? Wow, nice.
Yeah.
Cool. So I'm sure that moment is seared into Carmen's memory as she's
Oh
like,
yeah.
"No,
It
no, no!
has
Oh,
been.
frick, no!"
She's like, this is the worst day of my life.
Her one job, literally her one job, and she
Yeah.
failed at it. So she woke up on the ground in the Lunimus library, probably desperate for blood.
And literally left the next day out on the adventure and met up with a bunch of weirdos.
Yes, so actually it wasn't the next day. You went out in search of clues, and there were a few scatterings of clues that were available, and you got the stories from other guards who had seen suspicious
Mhm.
things. They compiled all the information and made their best guesses as to what in the world happened. You set off towards a road where there was a suspicious trail of footprints, followed that to
Yeah.
a town, asked around, got some more details that led you down another rabbit trail. Was it along the right trail? Was it not? But you had to try anyway. Um,
It led me to a cult though, and then the cult led to
it did.
someone trying to blow up a city, and then that led to me going back home. And
Yeah.
then the next thing I know, I'm going to a cult business, and then I get Thanos snapped.
Yeah. To make a long, long story short, you encountered some adventurers as you were basically exhausting your last lead and thinking it probably wasn't actually a trail that was related to the prince.
Yeah.
He's kind of gone. May as well regroup with Lunimus and see if they found any new information. Then a messenger ran up to you from Lunimus and was like, "Bro, I've been tracking you for like 8 days. I have been trying to find you, but you kept your nose to the ground and just kept sniffing for a really long way." And he told you that Lady Lily wanted to speak with
Yep.
you about the situation, and gave a hint that potentially the clue or the ransom note came not from Dearth like it was addressed to be from, but it maybe came from a different location called the Citadel of Archimonde because of
Hmm.
the paper that it was made on. It seemed suspiciously enchanted with a signature. Um,
We still hate Dearth though.
yeah,
I hate Dearth.
of course, hate Dearth. Yeah, why not?
Dearth is like the Ohio State to my Michigan.
Sure, if you want to put it that way,
I
yeah.
I legally I have to hate Ohio State because their football team is garbage.
Anyway, so you met up with some weird adventurers, had a huge cult explosion in the sewers, and you're like, yeah, maybe this is not where I need to be right now, and decided to head
Yeah.
out with your new friend Ananias.
With my new adopted friend.
Yes, you introduced her to your home or to your mom at Lunimus, and basically
As her third daughter. I'm like,
Yeah.
Mom, meet your third daughter.
a new adoption. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you set out to meet up with Ananias's new
Cult.
yeah, the same cult, but most of them have
It was
exploded.
the regathering of the members who managed to escape the explosion.
Yeah. So out of respect for Ananias, you decided to go and let them attend to this thing and give them some protection, maybe even a pull to the light, considering they were on some weird path, but apparently had never really been shown that much love before. So you
Yeah.
were trying to, help them out, and last thing you did before basically getting Thanos snapped was you were listening to the fair few members of the cult that were still alive, talking about their plans, and you cast Warding Bond on Ananias to try to give you some protection should things go south. Next thing you know, you look down and you're suddenly like fading away, and poof, you're gone. And I guess we'll get back to you in a bit.
Yeah, that's all I needed.
Yeah.
So, after relieving yourself from the restroom, you exit back into the banquet hall to find that the little automaton has been working vigorously. He's like scooting around. I imagine him, his little legs kind of being able to kind of morph into like a single wheel, like riding around on a unicycle. So he's just kind of wheeling in and out of a side room that presumably is a kitchen of some kind, and he is laying out a huge feast in front of your chair. You don't know how he managed to make that many trips while you were away, but there is like a giant bowl of mashed potatoes that it could feed like a family of 10, but it's like all for you, dipped with gravy. There's fine food of all various types. You see a glass of wine, a glass of water, there's a pitcher, and there is just an insane amount of stuff. Whatever your favorite food is, it's probably within the spread. And he immediately cheerily waves at you and says, "Oh, hello, welcome. Please make yourself at home. I will be speaking to you as soon as I get finished laying all this out." And then he goes back to his work.
All right then. And I suppose.
Be our guest. Be our guest.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I suppose he would go ahead and sit down. Because he. Yep.
Sorry, I just figured I would stop it.
Okay.
It's wasting bandwidth for no reason.
No, it's okay. I was like, what?
I left. I'm gone.
Yeah, I got very confused. I was like, oh, did I lose the call or something? Like, I'm not used to hearing that sound. But yeah, so I suppose he's like, yeah, fine. I'll go ahead and sit down. I'll go ahead and see what's about to happen, because why not?
Very well. So you sit down, and somehow between bringing even more dishes, Clayton manages to kind of come over and kind of scoot your chair in, and he grabs a little napkin and ties it around your neck, and he begins talking to you a mile a minute as he's kind of finishing the last touches to this wonderful meal that's even got some like air of chefly presentation. So, we know that you are very wise and profound with your magical abilities, and we have been interested in doing business with you for quite some time. So, I've got a bunch of things that I'm supposed to tell you, and I'm not really sure how I'm meant to tell them all. Also, since we did capture you, and we've got this whole like situation here, and we don't know if you're gonna go crazy and start blasting spells through our walls, would you please sign this? And he just pulls out this huge scroll of paper that's like listed with so much small text that it's ridiculous. And he goes, "Please sign this saying that you will not damage any of the facility in any way, or hurt me, or any of the friends that I care about, or my master, or anything like that, please, or your friends." Yeah, there's a lot of things to read there, but yes. Anyway, and he just like goes on this long spiel talking about various things such as that, and the expertise that you have with various types of magic, and he's just talking like a mile a minute. He also pulls out a quill, of course, to offer to you as he's holding out the scroll.
He he would, before signing it, he would definitely read through it. Because he's not just gonna sign something willy-nilly. Like it's like, especially if he's like signing that he's not gonna destroy everything with his magic. It's like, I gotta make sure that there's nothing in here that's gonna, really make this a problem later.
Yeah. So you read through the contract. Are you gonna like fine tooth comb read every single line of it all the way down before signing it? While he's still trying to blast you with information in the side.
Probably.
Okay. So,
As much as tuning him out would be likely, but yeah, that can be difficult. So.
Yeah. So you read through the contract, and starting from the top, it does talk about how, please do not, as you're here, I pledge that I will not break any of the rich finery that is around me to keep me in this place. I will not harm the master of this place, who is, and then the name is obscured by some kind of magic, but it is presumably there's something hidden behind, like a kind of blurry bit of magic. And then, oh, sorry, I lost my place as far as the sentence.
Oh,
What?
Mike he's climbing all over me, trying to jump on the keyboard.
Gotcha.
Cute. So yeah, it says I will not basically harm the master, and I will do my best to make sure my friends do not harm the master or any of his associates, meaning Clayton or anyone else. So it's basically just don't damage stuff, don't hurt people, and then it also talks just at length about I will potentially offer my services in exchange for a fair pay of X gold per hour, blah blah blah. It's just a long circuitous mess, and it seems almost suspiciously long, like it's meant to distract you and make you unwilling to just kind of read it, so your eyes will like skate over it and you'll just be like, yeah, terms and conditions, sign.
Yeah, the thing
it's
with
like long legalese. Every single sentence is like 4 times as long as it needs to be.
Yeah, but
They haven't met Adrian yet.
The thing with Adrian is that he enjoys that sort of thing. He is more than willing to read his way through every line of that.
I imagine he like takes the quill and he's like crossing out like sentences he doesn't like, and he's like rewording them, and he's like, okay, we're gonna change the comma here because I don't like how that changed the whole sentence.
Yeah, so reading through most of that, he wouldn't like sign it because he would stop and he would look at what was the name again? Clayton, yeah.
Clayton the Clay Golem.
Clayton.
Yeah. You've started reading and like analyzed it so long. This guy ran out of things to say with his long like bowling you over speech, and he's just kind of sitting there quietly now. And if he could sweat, he probably would be, just based on like how you're analyzing this so precisely. And yes. I'll look in order.
Not quite. There's a lot here that is undesirable.
Okay. How can I help?
I mean, I would like to make some changes to this, but within... Well, I don't know what this exact situation is or what I'm allowed to reject and not reject.
Okay. Well, that being the case, let's see. I guess I'll have to get back to you. Well, I will let you enjoy your meal, and then I suppose we'll see how things go. I will go speak with my master, and then he wheels off and goes down to a different exit than he's previously going.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
Only Adrian could confuse a golem out of not signing the contract.
Does he leave the contract or does he take it with him?
It depends on if you offer it to him or not. If you just say, "Hey, I've got some questions," and you don't offer it to him, he'll just be like, "Oh, okay," and then he'll leave.
Yeah, no, he'd have placed it down beside him, himself.
Did you actually make notes on it? Because he could take it if that
was. Yeah, I think he would like be crossing out like a number of things that are like. Offering services is at Adrian's discretion, and
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like lots of little notes of just like,
No, be
this would-
given unto my captors unless harm from them is first given unto me. Stuff like
yeah,
that.
there's
Yeah.
like a lot of like little like
Self-defense clause.
yeah, there's some phrasing and it's just like this implies like indentured servitude, even though like yeah, sure, pay, yeah,
Mhm.
it's just like there's a point at which like this becomes
Days
like
off, vacation, sick leave.
no,
Can I
but
go
health
back to the kingdom you
care.
kidnapped me from?
yeah, like there's like nothing in there that's saying like I can leave at any point. Like this is like there's a lot missing.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, it does seem
so
rather suspicious considering the whole like I've been kidnapped for a business deal. Why couldn't they just
yeah,
have a conversation? So yeah,
exactly.
there's a lot of red flags just with the nature of the thing. But either way, the little guy takes the scroll, kind of rolls it back up, takes the quill. I'll be right back, and he heads off, leaving you to enjoy this wonderful meal, if you want, of course. Oh, you have your detect magic on, so obviously the contract was magic, the quill was magic,
Mhm.
the food is magic, everything. Well, actually, no, the food isn't magic. Um, yeah, the food is perfectly ordinary. It
It
seems. It's
it could
just
have been
crazy.
produced with magic, but it would still be not magic, even if it was produced with. I think I'm not sure.
It
What
might
do I know about
actually, it
D&D?
might be still have a hint of residual magic if it was created with magic, like with create food and drink. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Either
that's a good
way,
question.
this appears to be just standard normal
Food.
food. They're just
Okay.
flexing with their wealth, I guess. I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
hmm
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So he would poke out the what he decides he's feeling up to eating.
Okay. Cool.
He's not the kind of ruler who's going to gorge himself on every bit of food he can find. Like he's a little pickier than that.
Man of moderation. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so after maybe 20 minutes or so, the golem comes back out and he seems a little like hesitant and regretful, and he's like, sorry, he does not burp. That was me.
That'd be weird.
Yeah, I'm a clay golem. I cannot actually consume the food, but I will burp anyway. I've been programmed with a lifelike sense of realism. So my master is too busy to coordinate more at this time. Could you please get back in the bag and we'll bring you elsewhere for the moment? I know this is an odd request.
Hmm.
He just kind of holds out the bag for you to step into. I don't have an easier way to transport you. I have little arms.
Yes. Well, I don't believe that. Or I believe that you and I both know that that's not going to be very reasonable.
Okay. Well, that's unfortunate. I'll be right back. He comes back out the door again, bringing the bag with him.
It's just like I'm not hopping back in there. Why? I'm not stupid.
Yes. Okay.
That's-
So after another like 1.5 minutes, if you want to explore the room, you can. But after about a minute and a half, you begin to hear a strange like hissing sound coming from within a couple of the walls, and a purple fog begins to kind of drift out through the boards where the
No.
seams of the walls are, and you might not recognize it, but you would probably be able to imply that's probably to, gas you or something, or incapacitate you in some way. Would you like to attempt to do anything, or just,
Um.
begrudgingly accept that this is happening?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity. It probably won't help in any way, form, or fashion. But is there anything like a chandelier or anything in the room?
Sure. Yeah, I'd say there is. Like,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, it might
Um.
not be the biggest one because the ceiling is like standard ceiling height in this particular
Yeah.
room.
Okay. Just to in an attempt to not be afflicted with whatever this is intending to do,
hmm
um, could he cast jump and attempt to get and jump onto the chandelier.
Sure. Yeah.
You're just make Clayton's job even harder when he has to fish you down from the chandelier. That's mean.
He's just gonna be hanging there unconscious. He'll be like, ah!
Listen.
Ugh.
He should know better than to offer such a terrible idea.
Let me. I'm just gonna try to see. Wow. Okay. I was rolling for how well constructed this is, so it doesn't pull out of the ceiling. I think it'll hold your entire weight. So yeah,
Good.
you can jump up onto it. Jump lets you jump easily high enough, and
Yeah.
you just kind of are clinging to it, or laying upon it, depending on how you want to be. And you notice that the gas does appear to have like enough weight to it, where it kind of like flows downward and first covers the floor and then kind of like gets higher. But there is a bit of an air pocket up where you are, to the point where you get a little drowsy as the fog remains there for a few minutes. But then it kind of like begins to fade away a little bit and settle down. It seems like no more is being added to the room, and you have not passed out or anything yet. Then you see the door open, and little Clayton comes in, wheeling across the floor, looking around through the fog, trying to find, your unconscious body, you would assume. And he looks up.
Mhm.
Oh! Okay! And he turns back around and closes the door again.
Okay. Didn't expect this one.
Okay, well, let me figure out what happens now.
Yeah.
This is what they get for kidnapping the prince.
Yep.
His moral compass grounding sense isn't here, so he is now free to do whatever mischievous thought pops
been
into his
unleashed.
mind. Yeah.
It's just like, no. I'm not playing this game. I'm not hopping in the bag. I'm not, like,
off.
this isn't how this goes.
He's going off script.
Yeah, so there's actually a fair bit of time here where, you're aware that you've been kidnapped. They're trying to knock you out right now. If you want to try to escape, the fog seems to be kind of like settling down slowly, and over the next couple of minutes, it is basically just on the floor at like knee level or waist level. You could probably walk around the room without immediately passing out. If you would like to try to find some way to escape, or cause any further mayhem that poor Clayton will have to clean up.
I mean, he doesn't want to like break things, but I just want to check. Jump only lasts for a minute, so I think for now he's fine with just staying up there until something happens that encourages him to leave.
Gotcha. Okie doke. Let's see. Yes. That is what would happen. So, after another couple of minutes, the door, like, busts open, almost like flying off its hinges, and you see a much larger automaton made of metal that almost seems like it can't make it through the door, but somehow manages to, like, Transformers compress its way, like, into a small trash compacted cube, slide in the doorway, and then kind of re-expand to its large form. And it kind of glares around the room with like a huge monobrow, and just locks eyes with you. It makes no like emotion or indication that it cares, but you seem to be its target, and it just kind of approaches with like giant fists, ready to pummel you into the ground, I guess. What would you like to do? You hear the sounds of a second one approaching in the same doorway as well. Just kind of like making the same whirring and steam shooting out of its face noises.
Let's see. I'm just trying to think. Also want to like. I'm looking up spells as well, just to. Okay.
Should probably pull the stats for this thing because I don't know what you're about to do.
Yeah. I think for this second until it makes an action, I think I would want to be prepared to cast a spell on myself.
Okay. What you gonna cast? Oh, I know what you're gonna cast.
What? What?
Invisibility.
I could do that. But no, actually, if anything, I want to cast protection from energy on myself.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah, I'll wait till it makes like an action to do that.
Gotcha. Yeah, you
Some
just see him, making a beeline for you, approaching at this point,
yeah,
or beeline around the table.
yeah, kind of. I mean, it's still on the chandelier, I suppose. Like,
Oh, you are.
yeah, because I never climbed down, if you
That's
recall.
hilarious.
Yeah, I was just like, yeah, I don't really want to go into the mist, even if it's not being drowsy sounds like a good plan.
I'm sorry, Clayton. So the big guy is just gonna kind of like go straight to the middle of the room underneath the chandelier. In the process, knocking the table with all the food just all over the nice rug and just splattering across the walls, making a horrible clanging noise as just a bunch of stuff is slammed to the ground, and it just looks up to the chandelier and just reaches for the chandelier, grabs it around the middle, and just yanks. We'll see if it manages to dislodge this well-built chandelier. Surprisingly,
Like, you didn't destroy that.
the chandelier is like remarkably strong. I don't know what they made this thing out of, but
Titanium chandeliers, you know.
it like breaks in half. So he's now got like a little umbrella made of like candles and metal, and you're holding onto the other half, just like a cartoon character trying not to fall.
Okay.
But it just kind of glares at you with its large metal jaw and single like bulging clockwork eye.
Yeah.
The second one has now kind of entered the room and is holding the tiny little bag of holding, and it's just like,
Yeah. I suppose at that point, then it's time to go. So, is there a room like a door on the farther side of the room?
yes, I mean there are about 6 doors in this room, and they are currently blocking your access to about 2 of them.
Okay. Then I would want to head in the opposite direction and try to go through one of those farther doors.
Okie dokie, man, this guy needs to fire these clockwork guards. Yeah, so you jump to the ground. I don't think that would be an opportunity attack if you can jump far enough. Could you roll me dexterity, just as far as like distance and not hurting yourself as you fall from the ceiling?
Okay, so that's 9 plus. I think it's plus 3. Yeah. 12.
Yeah, I'd say you're fine. It's a little rough on the landing, but you're not in range of opportunity attacks.
Okay.
So, yeah, you make it to one of these other doors. What's your plan? Just throw it open?
Yeah, just throw it open.
Yeah. It appears to be locked.
Unsurprisingly,
Unsurprisingly, they thought of that when they locked you in a room of gas.
I thought they would have unlocked it by now. Okay. Sorry, I'm just looking at spells.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I think at that point he's gonna kind of eye up like the two clockwork robots that have entered the room.
Mm-hmm.
Does it seem like there's any more in the hallway, or like auditorily sound like there's more in the hallway, or no?
It just sounds like it's these two, from what you know of, but you know that at least Clayton is around, and he's not currently appearing to be around. So there's clearly things around, like other entities, just not they're not all accounted for, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I get you. Okay. Then I guess his plan now is going to be, I guess I'm going to try to go through the door that they just came through, because that one's clearly open. So
that's true. Okie dokie.
Don't get me killed.
Don't get you killed.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. I forgot you guys are linked.
Yeah. Don't worry, their
But
goal
he can
isn't.
get to the edge of death and you'll be fine. You won't even realize it.
Don't like that though. I don't want him going to the edge of death. That's bad. I'm not even here to do my job.
So I gotta make it hard on you, even
I'm
if you're
going
not
to
here.
kill you when I find you again.
So I apologize for not having a battle map. I didn't quite expect this to happen.
No, all good, all good.
Would you,
Expect us to cause trouble.
if you're fast enough, you might be able to get by them and run to the door without them being able to turn their like massive bodies to intercept you. But again, that would be dexterity, I would say.
Yeah.
Unless you
Yeah,
have a
I can
spell
give.
that would assist you.
Not really. I didn't take anything like long strider or expeditious retreat or anything like that.
Okie dokie.
Um,
Then roll.
Yeah.
Not one on one of these clockwork columns.
oh, fun.
That's a 9 on the other. Great.
Well, I rolled a 12, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
there's a +3, so
Okay.
Rolling, my dear.
Need to map out this place as we're going.
no, it's all good.
My
all
dear,
good.
where are you even rolling?
I'm using a die roller because I
Okay.
don't have it set up yet.
I was like, you're in the roll 20, but I don't see your rolls.
no,
So I was really confused for a second.
all good. When I get that set up, I'll roll.
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
It's just
So
That's just sure.
I had to make dinner, and
I get it.
I love you, my dear.
completely throwing the plans of whoever this mysterious master is out the window, you are kind of getting an adrenaline rush, like kind of enjoying the thrill of being in an actual like adventurous situation for yourself. This is what you left the kingdom for, after all. So you you slide underneath the outstretched arm of one of these robots, and it kind of turns its upper half, then its lower half to try to face you, and begins stomping down the other direction back towards you as you slip through the doorway, finding yourself in another long hallway filled with many doors. It seems to have a 90-degree turn to the left at the end of this hallway. What would you like to do?
I think Adrian will take his chance with going straight down the hallway.
Okie doke.
And yeah.
Yep, you don't encounter anyone or even hear anyone else in this hallway as you get to the 90-degree turn and turn to see another door at the end of the hallway. If you had to guess, this would be some kind of exit door, just based on the different architecture, or at least like it seems to be heading more out of the complex.
Okay. Taking like at that corner, if Adrian were to take a look behind him, like how close do the robots seem to be?
They're pretty slow. Like
Pretty slow.
they're getting through, folding themselves through the doorway again, and then unfolding, and then they begin kind of stomping angrily down the hallway.
Yeah.
They seem to be like not as fast as you, just in
Okay.
terms of raw speed.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Who would win? 2 angry robots or 1 human man?
Okay. So I guess he would go ahead and give the door like move towards it and give the door a try.
Okie dokie. It does appear to be open. Now let me figure out a couple things real quick as far as how many people are around.
Enough to be surprised by that he managed to get out. I'll tell you that much.
Mm-hmm. So, you open the door and you see another like rich, fancy parlor, and it does have windows that appear to be going to the outside of a place. As you step out of this this doorway, or are you stepping out? Are you just opening the door to look through first?
No, I think he's moving with opening it.
Okay. As soon as
Yeah.
you open and like step through the doorway, you feel in your chest just this kind of like weight of magic, similar to how your home Lunimus has these like protection enchantments, kind of protecting the whole of the kingdom. So it's almost like a little bit like heavier, harder to breathe. The weight of it, the atmosphere is like being underwater a little bit. So in some sense, it might remind you of home a little bit, but this is stronger. More magic is kind of like caustically flowing around this whole area, and you can just kind of feel it in your
Advanced
bones.
magic.
Maybe not necessarily advanced,
No,
but just
I'm
more of
joking.
it. Yeah. Level 2. Yeah.
It's calculus, and you're just used to algebra.
Oh no.
Ha, good joke.
Yeah, so you open this door and you actually don't see anyone actively in the room. There is an open door across the parlor on the other side already, but you just appear to be in like a nice front sunroom kind of thing, with the like windows looking out onto the night sky. Well, you do see another building across the way, kind of obscuring part of the view, but there is night sky above that house. And the architecture is rather weird. It's not something that you're used to with your, tall glass buildings and your metal work around the outside. This seems, the outside seems rather plain and boxy, like very rigid and efficient rather than like decorated and nice.
Unlike the insides.
Yeah, the outer street also appears to be rather deserted. There are a couple of like magical street lamps, just like continual flames, spells that are lighting the area up at all times, but there doesn't appear to be too many people wandering about. There's like maybe one person that you see just kind of like walking past the house. But you seem to be nearly home free, if you can escape this room before catching the notice of whoever was monitoring your existence. So, what would you like to do?
I think I will now go ahead and use how long does invisibility last?
I think an hour if you keep your concentration. This is not at all how I expected this session to go.
No, that's fair. No, don't worry. I'm not going to be like running out of this place. Like,
This is supposed to be you're captured for 2 weeks, and Carmen, ends up with where you are.
Yeah,
I have to
I
improvise this
mean,
entire campaign.
no, it's all good. Hey,
No,
that's
I'm
you're
enjoying
used to
this.
that.
This is great. This is how campaigns are made.
This is amazing. This is
It's-
honestly, this is what I expected from Dylan. Not gonna lie.
If it hadn't been for the
I'm-
nat one, this would have been over a while ago.
right? Out of curiosity, so I have shadow touched. The first of you can cast each of these spells without expending a spell slot. Does it require me to have does it still require like like the components for it, or yeah, it's a weird question to ask, but
First level. I would say no. The flavor of this. Is it a feat?
It's his background.
well, it's a feat. Yeah, it's the feat I took from my variant human.
Okay, I would say that the flavor of it is more like it's kind of you've been changed and it's like an innate ability kind of thing rather than like
Yeah.
you're using spellcasting components. So yeah, I would say
Okay.
you can do
Yeah,
that.
and it's only once per day, so
Yeah.
or once per long rest. So
Yeah.
yeah, it does say it doesn't cost a spell slot, so in that way it feels kind of like it's
Mhm,
outside of
mhm,
that.
mhm.
Okay. Yeah, then in that case I will cast invisibility. And yeah, it is an hour. So
Mhm.
so we'll see what happens, right?
Might cause some problems. Let me check.
I mean, listen, if anyone has detect magic or if
That's
somehow
true.
like
You are detecting magic, and I guess you would be able to have seen that
Uh,
door was magic as you opened it. Sorry, I haven't been
Well,
describing everything that's magic.
no,
There's a lot
actually,
of stuff.
detect magic only lasts for 10 minutes. So
Yeah. Oh, okay. So yeah, it might have expired during the foggy
yeah, during the
room
tussle.
thing.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, and definitely during looking at the contract that whole time. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
that's
it would have expired much earlier. Yeah.
And
so,
of course, if you cast invisibility, then it also goes away because concentration.
concentration. Yeah, up to
Okay.
an hour. Yeah.
Uh,
Either way, it's fine.
Yep. Hold person only works if you can see them. Great.
Oh, man.
So
We love causing problems here.
Doesn't mean it can't be detected still by people with perception checks, mind you. So
But they can't really. What are they gonna do? They're wizards. Are they gonna grapple you? I
maybe.
would pay money to see that.
Listen, I don't know if automatrons can detect somebody through invisibility.
Yeah, they're
So-
all built with true sight. Sure thing.
Okay.
EJ just quickly updating some character sheets. All automatrons have true sight. You see invisibility.
That is a good thing to remind me to check, though.
That's just called infrared. That's, that's yes, I see in 6 different spectrums of light.
Yep, the infrared gives you away. Let's see. Okay, so you see as the as you're casting invisibility upon yourself, you kind of shimmer away, and you hear rapid footsteps, almost like stumbling and falling over themselves, approaching as what appears to be some human in a little blue robe, just like a standard mage outfit, kind of stumbles out of that other room with the open door and kind of looks around the room as you're like dissolving in the last couple of sparkles, and he's like, "Ow!" and he like lets out a swear.
It's
Are you?
Oh, unicorn turds.
What's your next move?
I guess I go to whichever doorway he didn't come out of.
Well, the exit, like to the street that you could see, or are you?
Oh, I
exploring
mean,
the area more.
I think curiosity has too much on him right now. He's just like, I could leave, but that's not how this works. So I suppose he would go. I guess where the guy in mage clothes had come from.
You're gonna go behind him.
Yeah, like around and like, keep the distance from him exactly.
It also confuses them. They would never expect you to go back.
Interesting.
Oh.
Yeah. So
wherever he came running out of.
You see the guy, like go, ha, dang it, and he like begins muttering something and holds his hand out towards the front door, and you see like some ghostly chains kind of sprout from the wall and kind of lock the door down, and then he seems like at a loss for what to do, and then he turns around to like go back into the door that you're now sneaking past him to go into first. So you're in front of him basically as he's turning to go straight at you. What would you like to do?
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna slip in there first and try to find
a very disheveled office, just like piles and piles of papers and scrolls and magical bits and bobs. There's like half-smashed crystals and little electronic automaton bits that are all in various forms of completion. And there's some bubbling cauldron in the back that seems to be letting off some noxious fumes of some kind. Not purple, but they're similar.
Yeah. Doesn't look appealing.
It does not look good. Yeah, it's like the faintest like blue remnants of something.
Okay. I suppose he would find a corner of the room that probably looks like it's been messed with the least, and just kind of just kind of stand there and and keep an eye over like whatever's about to happen.
Yeah, the dude will immediately walk over to the desk and kind of grab a sending stone from the table that looks like it's got some like nice crystal inlays or something, and he just goes, yeah, boss, I lost him. I messed up. I don't know where he is. He's in the house somewhere. I have no idea what's going on. Every single thing has gone wrong. Send someone out to help me.
This is the kind of thing that we pull, just so you know.
Oh yeah, I'm living for it.
We have so many games.
Murphy's Law, man. Everything that can go wrong.
We have enough games where we've pulled the craziest stuff. That
Don't even get us started on when we're French.
oh god, yeah, you know
we're
when we
French.
yeah we have a couple characters who are French in the game, and
Well, they're Colosian from Pokemon, and
yeah.
Kalos is based off of France.
yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and we had an entire section where we're running through an enemy's base, scattered to the four winds, and
We only got up because I pulled the fire alarm.
yeah, yeah, I pulled the
Nice.
fire alarm, and everyone panicked. We slipped out with everybody. We stole like 6 Pokemon from the bad guys, and
Yeah.
found out like all sorts of information. We're all like, cool. We just ruined an operation because we called the cops afterwards. It was just like, oh, okay. And apparently the DM was like, you guys weren't supposed to find this yet. This
Yeah.
was supposed to be much later.
Yeah, he gave me some flavor text, and I accidentally stumbled into something we were not supposed to find until much later.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I'm gonna find it now because I rolled so well, and
Speaking of
then he
stuff that
regretted
wasn't
everything.
supposed to happen till later.
Yeah, right?
Great.
This is what we do. You have to be
Yeah, it's always the sessions where you're like not prepared and you're like, okay, it's fine. I've got this part planned. As long as they stick to this part, we'll be fine. Oh no!
oh no. Oh god. Okay, but yeah, go ahead and continue that.
Yeah, so he says that, and then wait for a second. No, I'm not joking. Yes, I expected that my pay would be cut.
Guy.
Just get some help over here, please. Yes. Okay, thank you. And then he slams the cell stone down and decides to go, wander through the halls, I guess, looking for you. So he slams the door behind him and leaves you alone in this laboratory with all the... Or is it a laboratory? Is it just a very disheveled workstation? You're not exactly sure.
Yeah.
But he leaves you alone in this room. And
it's like I've seen a lab or two, and this looks like the worst quality lab it could possibly be.
This looks like an intern was given a closet and told to make do.
Basically, yeah, that's the vibes.
Yeah. So if anything, like he would probably start looking through some of the objects that are in the room.
Yeah. Are you looking for anything in particular, or just searching for a clue of identity of anyone, or what exactly are you looking for?
Honestly, kind of just anything really. If it's a clue, cool. If it's not, it's still of curiosity.
Anything is valuable at this point, to be
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah.
I would say, well, obviously the cell stone is interesting. It seems a little more advanced than just your average run-of-the-mill sending stone. There's the cauldron of some strange bubbling liquid that is releasing some slight blue vapors.
I was gonna say, seen enough vapors today that I don't want to touch that. And then the cell stone is like, I don't want to give myself away with that. That's a bad idea.
Okay, there is a little amulet that appears to have a lion's face on it for some reason, and it's got like a orange gemstone in the teeth of the lion. There is a broken spear that appears to be formed from platinum, and it's just got like a bunch of these shards that are kind of on the table in various places, but they're kind of in their own little like section of the desk, and one of them appears to be just like have been bumped slightly and is just like slowly rotating in place as though it's something in space, weightless, just floating.
Steal one.
Slowly.
Yeah, honestly, I was thinking of just like, what if I just take one of these?
Yeah.
Take
no one's
one.
gonna know. What are they gonna do?
Oh no, they'll know.
If they count later on. Yeah, it's like
This
curiosity.
this intern's project's gonna be incomplete.
And there are plenty of pieces of paper around. A lot of the things that you see are kind of useless or like in states of disrepair, as I said. So like the automaton pieces are like not fully functional. But you can grab an arm of a robot or something if you want.
No, no desire to steal an entire arm. Just like
Mhm.
just a little floaty crystal, or
You
or what could
see
become a floaty crystal.
a piece of paper that seems to be orders to this guy, which might draw your interest, and it is signed by the letter. Oh, dang it! Me forgetting the name of my bad guy. 1 second. Uh, Gosh darn it! I didn't expect to have to deal with the bad guy at this exact moment, so I actually forgot his name. Hold
No,
on.
I'm sorry. I threw all your plans
Okay.
out of whack. Could have just accepted it.
For the moment, I can't find it easily, but just it's the last name or like the last letter of the name. I'll tell you next session, I promise. Okay.
Yeah, no,
It's
I'll
just,
get
it's just signed with an X for right now until you get
Yeah.
back with the letter.
So it's just like give him the standard treatment. Who he is isn't really important. Get him to sign the contract. Send him through the rigmarole with Clayton. If you have any problems, don't hesitate to knock him out, but don't kill him. I need him alive. And then it's signed the guy's name, or like someone who's
it's
probably in
signed in-
charge. You would
I-
assume.
For some reason, my mind is clouded. I
Man,
can't see the letter through the
Well,
fog.
let's just it's totally obscured the same way as the contract. His name
Yeah,
is that's his
magically.
actual name. It's just scribbles. It's like a doctor. You can't read his handwriting.
Exactly. Oh,
That's how you
God.
prove you're in the organization. You can read the fucking scribbles.
I'm so sorry.
Cool. I've proven I'm not evil.
Anyway,
You passed the vibe check.
Yeah.
you hear at this point what sounds like a crackling fire for a moment as like a rush of air kind of bursts under the door and then goes back to normal, like the air pressure changed outside the room for a moment, and you hear a moment or two later a yelp of surprise, probably from that mage. Maybe not. Maybe it was the cleaning guy. You know?
Yeah. Well, at that point, like you've got my attention. So, if anything, maybe like crack open the door a little bit.
Ah, okay. The door that was slammed now
Mhm.
opens slightly. Okay.
Yeah.
You crack the door open just slightly, and you can see back into the parlor. Sorry.
Good.
You can see now standing in the center of the room, where the change door still remains, a horned devil. It appears. He's got like, just this. Well, maybe not specifically, because I know there's different terms for the devils, but
Mhm.
it is some form of devil, and they've got like thick red skin, the big horns, and a very disgruntled expression as their forked tail kind of flicks behind them. This guy is muscled to the teeth, and he's got huge leathery wings that are folded behind his back at this moment, and he's just glaring disapprovingly at the mage, who's like, he was last seen just here. Now I don't know where he is. He's somewhere in the house. And the devil just immediately turns his eyes to like look at you like, I can't believe this guy. He locks eyes with you even though you're invisible.
Oh boy.
Would you like to do anything?
I'll still wait just to see what happens.
I thought you said
'Cause,
you were gonna wave. I was like,
No. We'll,
You
we'll
little
wait,
witch.
and if he clearly moves towards me, I'm like, I'm in a room on my own. So, like, is there a chair in the room? Out of curiosity.
Yes. In the intern's
Okay.
closet. It's this little stool.
Yeah, right. I suppose if anything, if he starts moving my direction, then I'll go over what I do then. But it's up to you.
You're gonna do what with? Huh? Sorry. Say it again.
If he starts moving towards where I'm currently at, then I have a plan, or not plan, just an idea of what I'm gonna do. So
Yeah, you see the devil kind of like lock eyes with you for a second. He says something else to the mage, and then the devil just kind of turns to begin walking towards you.
okay, yeah. In that case, I'm just gonna go ahead and move the chair so that it's facing the door, and go just take a seat. And at this point, I may as well just drop invisibility.
Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah.
Shimmery, purple light kind of spreads across your fingers again, revealing you once again, and you just take a seat, just like, well, this has been a fun time. The
Yeah.
door opens as like a clawed hand kind of reaches into the crack of the door you left ajar, and the large devil kind of folds down his wings to get into the room and glares down at you. What are you doing?
sorry. My brain processed this very differently. Just went very like Shrek. Just what are you doing in the swamp?
I swear, eventually we're gonna get Carmen there, but we have to pass
Yeah.
weeks of
For the-
time first.
This is funny to me. I'm enjoying this.
Yes, Light is definitely enjoying this. And so in response to that, Adrian's like, well, I was taken beyond my willingness and was asked to sign a contract that, quite frankly, was not very magnanimous.
You're gonna be the smartest one they brought in a long time. You'll do just fine here. But we do need you to cooperate, so if you wouldn't mind, submit yourself to the bag.
Get in the bag.
And the mage comes by, just holding the bag shamefully. He's like, I'm sorry.
And why must I get in the bag?
That's a good point. It's mostly just so you don't see the outside or figure out where you are. It's a
Points to
policy thing.
window.
You could use a blinding spell.
Yeah, or teleportation or whatever, but I ain't the one who makes the rules. It's the guy in charge.
I mean, at this point, there's no point in fighting whatever you may or may not be.
Did waste a bit of my time. Or, actually, I shouldn't say you wasted my time. He, like, seems to respect you more than this guy at this point.
Yes, well. This is what it must be. And he's not gonna move, he's just gonna stay as is.
Appreciate it. And he just lets the mage kind of come over. He's like, sorry about this. And he just puts the bag over your head again. And we'll just fast forward to you find yourself in a cell. And it's not really like the worst cell. It's not like cobblestones and bars or whatever. You're just put in a room that you can't leave. And it's not a very, nice room. It seems a little in disrepair. Maybe it's temporary. You're hoping it's temporary while they figure out what to do with you. But as you're left in this room with like, a sturdy wooden ceiling, just a couple of beds with kind of ratty sheets, gotta be careful what I say. Yeah, it's just a standard wooden door, it appears, but potentially a door that is enchanted in some way to be stronger than just a wooden door. By the way, you did take a piece of that spear, didn't you?
Yeah, if that's what it was, yeah. Then.
Yeah, okay, cool. So
Yeah.
you have a piece of the spear. As you pick it up, you can definitely tell that it's like, it just appears to be, I'll give you more properties about it later, but it seems weird. Like, it's not necessarily weightless. It seems to resist motion, like resist acceleration to a certain extent, where it doesn't want to be dragged through the air. It's got like a set speed that it can be moved to, and then it'll just kind of like hover or something. So it's definitely odd in those properties that it's got. But you've got a splinter that's like a little bit smaller than like a standard knife, but it's hefty, being platinum. Hefty in the sense that it's like metal and sturdy, but not actually heavy because it floats.
I get
extent of the details about that. So yeah, you still have that. You can say that that's hidden, and they don't search you for that because they've already taken all your other stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
So you've got
So
that.
if anything, it's just kind of like it's a fidget toy right now for
Yeah.
just something to occupy time and to look into the properties I've discovered.
Honestly, it's a small price to pay to keep you from breaking out again.
Right.
Yeah. You could keep
Not
the
knock
little.
out, not knock out whoever comes in next.
The intern's gonna be like, I can't finish my thesis projects. What am I gonna do?
It's like you either let me keep the little fidget or I break out again. Which one would you prefer?
I can't
Yes.
fail physics again.
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 This spear does not obey the laws of physics. Why? I don't know. Anyway,
I haven't figured it out yet.
so you're left in this very unassuming wooden room. You've got a small clay pot as a chamber pot, and just two made beds with kind of moth-ridden, moth-eaten sheets, and it's pretty lame, pretty grody. You're hoping that it's temporary, but as time passes, you're brought just a single meal for the rest of the day, and it appears to be just some kind of like mashed slop that's got a faint red tinge to it. And if you do, you choose to partake of it.
Not until like hunger is like absolutely overtaking.
Okay.
Not until
Gotcha. So yeah, there's two beds. Which one do you pick if you want it? Anyway, nothing happens for the rest of the day. They basically like there's a little flap underneath the door. They slide the tray under, and then nothing. No other social interaction for the rest of the day. Or at least you're thinking it's a day, because there's no real way to track time. There's just a single continual flame in this room in the corner that's kind of lighting the room with a dim light, and time passes, and it continues to pass. Time continues passing. No one interacts with you. No one bothers to check up on you. Not even the little butler, though he promised to look after you and give you anything you needed. Apparently, you've gotten on their bad side now, and nothing happens for
No.
6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours. Let me know if you want to do anything.
I suppose like if anything, he's scouting the room, figuring out, like just anything about it. But he's not like overly trying to escape or anything right this second, because it's like,
Yeah.
I got time to
Yeah.
figure it out, I'm sure.
Examining the room, you would notice that it seems to be not just plain old wood like you originally thought. It seems to be wood kind of paneled on top of what looks like lead, or potentially lead mixed with some other alloys. And it seems to be some kind of protective casing around this room, and it also seems to deaden a little bit that same kind of feeling, the like protective magic bubble that you were feeling before. So potentially it has some kind of magic canceling effects, but you're not sure exactly what properties that is. If you'd like, you can try to cast some magic and see if it like has no effect or only partial effect, or maybe it'll work fine. You never know.
Yeah, I suppose I'll cast Detect Magic again.
Yeah, I'd say you cast it and you don't really notice any effect, so you kind of feel the magic still wash over you like normal and kind of tainting your vision, but you don't see anything that actually appears to be magic. Not here, at least.
Okay.
Other than your glowy new toy, your fidget
Wow.
spinner, just spinning
Like-
in midair.
Yeah, it's like, well, if it's magic dampening, it doesn't seem to have any effect on magic detection. So
hmm It could be only for specific spells. You're not quite sure, but yeah, it's an unknown effect, but it definitely has something to do with magic dampening, because you would know there's plenty. I don't even need to explain it to you. You're a DM. You know, lead does things.
yeah. So no, that makes sense.
Yeah. Eventually, you might start to get hungry or tired, but they've seen fit to provide you something to help with that.
At least something, right?
Yep. So, 24 hours pass. Then
Assumably.
48. Yep. Just time continues to pass, and no one interacts with you for a long time. A week passes. Is there anything you would like to do? Every day you're just given another tray, unassuming tray, filled with another wooden bowl of the same kind of mushy. It looks
I
like mashed
suppose.
potatoes mixed with like a little bit of cranberry sauce. That's what it looks like in terms of color and just texture. Um, yeah, but it's probably not
Okay.
actually that.
Yeah. Once again, he only eats like as a if he is that hungry
Hmm.
situation. Yeah, I suppose just at a just maybe after a couple days he would attempt to get somebody's attention through the door, especially when like food is brought, but he's not gonna hurt himself shouting for hours on end, if that
Hmm.
makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. No
So
one, no one responds intentionally. It seems like they can obviously hear you as they're giving you the food, but they do not respond to you.
no, fair.
Yep.
Yeah, so he's like, oh, that's how it's gonna be. That's
Yep.
how it's gonna be.
So, for let's see, how many more days? I need to figure it out. So you spent, it might be almost close to a month by the
Jeez.
time. Maybe it's more like. Let's see. I forget. I don't have enough easy accessible notes because I wasn't quite prepared for all this kerfuffling. Let's just say it's been quite some time. So like you can't really keep track of the days and nights because there's just always the same constant level of light. So you're
Yeah.
kind of going crazy however long it's been. You would estimate maybe it's been 2 weeks, maybe it's been more, maybe it's been less. You're kind of losing your mind at this point. If you would like to, if you have anything that can like blast a huge hole and like ensure your escape, I mean, feel
Yeah,
free to let me
at some
know.
point,
But
after like maybe a week, he would try to cast something like Shatter,
mhm.
um, because I do have access to that.
The door does
Um,
seem like the weak point if you're gonna try to do something like that.
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
So yeah, he'd probably aim it towards that sort of area.
Are you able to cast that? Do you have the
Oh, actually, I should
components?
check. Actually, sorry.
No problem.
Uh,
I think it's a third level
um,
spell, so that might not fall into the same category as the.
no, it's a second level spell.
Oh, okay.
Shatter. Does it have?
We realized Dylan with his sorcery points can upcast spells into third level, even though he technically doesn't have any third level spells. He can access the third level slot.
Mhm.
I can't use Shatter, but I could use like Firebolt,
Ah,
just a cantrip.
yeah, that works. Oh,
Yeah.
of course, your entire room is wood
I mean,
on
hey,
the
if,
legs.
if it gets
So
me out, right?
you're gonna burn to death.
Don't kill me!
um, can I cast? Oh wait, what's the door made out of again? Is it metal?
Wood.
The door
I thought-
appears to be wood,
Okay.
or at least appears to be. But it might
Key,
if you're
keyword,
inspected.
underlined, highlighted, bolded.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might.
Um.
If you're kind of looking in the cracks of the wood, you might see the same kind of like metal alloy within the door that you would see kind of between the cracks of the rest of the walls.
Okay. Are there hinges on the door? Just out of curiosity.
Yes.
Could I cast heat metal on it?
Ooh. Oh yeah, probably.
Okay. I guess I'll try that then.
Okie dokie. Um. So do we need to roll anything for that? I guess not, because it's just
Yeah,
straight.
'cause it's just an object, so I think heat metal might on.
Works, because it usually gets a save to dodge your attack or
Oh
to
no, wait! It
something.
requires components. Sorry, never mind then.
Oh, I
Yeah.
was so excited for that too.
No, it's fine. I was just looking at what options I have just to like figure out something. And it's like,
Mhm.
Looks like you're stuck.
one second.
You need a hero, a bodyguard, perhaps, with all of her stuff.
Um. Uh. I mean, I don't know if it'll do anything, but I can do Arms of Hadar.
Interesting. Wow. What level spell is that? Is that third
That's a
level?
first level spell.
Really? Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, first level conjuration. Yeah.
Your arms could
Be a warlock
yeet the
spell.
beds.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just verbal and somatic. So,
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know if it'll do anything, but I can try it.
Mhm.
Um.
Let's say. Yeah, I mean, sure, go for it. So, what exactly are you trying to do with it? It just sprouts some arms that will damage entities within the radius, right? Or does it do
Yeah.
anything else?
It just says batters all creatures within 10 feet of you. Streak saving throw. So I guess my idea is using this. Would it be able like? I know it's supposed to hit creatures, but it would still hit objects in the environment, right? Arguably.
I would say so. It's more fun that way.
Yeah. So I guess like using it so that it would hit like the door and like the walls around it. That would be the goal.
Mhm. Yeah. Um. As the arms do like make contact with the walls and the door, the black tentacles just kind of like dissolve from the tip down to the base and then kind of reform in their wispy form, and as they strike it they just kind of get dissipated into smoke and come back, as though the door and the wall itself seem to dispel magic a little bit. But you can
Well,
eat the bed.
I could catapult the bed. You are correct in that. I'm not gonna catapult the bed. I would like a place to sleep still if I'm here for an extended period of time. Which I am at after that point. So yeah, at that point, Kingsley or Adrian, I'm gonna say King. I know I'm gonna do it.
No problem. I would say that after the first week of struggling and finding no way to escape, and kind of exhausting your opportunities and getting annoyed at existence, so you can only really tell time by the once a day bowl of mush that gets delivered to you. Have you tried it yet, by the way?
Yeah, he would have.
Would
You can't.
Adrian be familiar with the taste of goodberry?
That's a good question.
He might have
I
never had to eat it before, considering royalty. Usually you're provided with more than the bare necessities for survival.
Yeah, exactly. So it might just be like, I don't know what this is, or how good quality it is, or how bad.
Suffice it to say, this, whatever it is, it keeps you alive. It is
Yes.
not good. It is the most bland and boring and rough textured slop you've ever tasted. This is basically like understimulating torture and being trapped in like an isolation room. It is painful. But after 7 bowls have been delivered to your room, which you would presume means 7 days ish, there is, along with your bowl in your tray, offered a quill and another scroll, which seems to be the exact same contract you were initially offered, with your alterations scratched out.
Like take it, it doesn't like creative criticism.
You could just use it to take notes and write your own stuff instead on the back, and just be like, "I'm gonna play tic tac toe."
Yeah. I mean, at that point, yeah, he would. Yeah, he has no interest in signing that contract with no alterations.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because that's Adrian for you.
You could easily rip it up. You could use it to take notes or have some fun with the quill. Do whatever. You have another tool at your disposal to entertain yourself.
It's true.
Hmm.
Assuming it doesn't like randomly disappear.
It just explodes.
Right.
It was all a long effort just to kill you. That's why they went to all this effort.
It's the long con.
Yep. So, 7 more bowls of slop and a lot more insanity pass. And then one day, out of nowhere, suddenly, a bright blue flash of light just kind of illuminates the whole room, and your eyes have been so used to just this same, orangish yellow continual flame for all this time. This is like, oh my gosh, my eyes, what is happening as this bright light suddenly appears and kind of materializing out of some, almost like the reverse of something, like when a piece of paper kind of burns into ashes and the little pieces, the embers fly off. It's the opposite of that, as these little blue pieces kind of float together and reform into a solid form of Carmen. And poof, hey Carmen, you were last at the cult. You were talking to someone, and then suddenly, like in your mind, no time has passed at all. You're just suddenly looking at Adrian in a room, and like there's some scratches on the walls. There's 2 disheveled beds that like both have clearly been slept in recently, and there's like 2 bowls of overturned mush where there's an end table sorely lacking.
He's probably
It's
looking
just
far more disheveled than usual. He hasn't been able to trim any facial hair.
I think
Yeah.
she would have been like halfway into like drawing her blade when she saw that she was not where she was supposed to be, and then saw Adrian, and then just freezes for a moment. Adrian?
I'm sorry, my eyes deceiving me.
She like goes over and like puts her hands on his shoulder. You're doing. You're okay. You're here.
Okay is a word for it, yes.
I'm
You're not
surprised
anywhere
he's
close.
this even kilter.
You're not
Yeah.
anywhere close to death, which is. Well, that's what I've been fearing.
I mean, I'm alive enough. I'm
I have been searching for you since.
sorry, has insanity finally taken me? I'm not quite sure yet.
Hold on. Do I do something? I think I just kind of flick you on the forehead. Just like, be
Okay.
reasonable.
Okay, that was. That's the first thing that's touched me in about. I don't know how long I've been here.
Too long.
Have you been putting the bowls back, like giving the mess back, like chamber pot and empty bowls or whatever back, or have you just been like leaving a mess to attract roaches in the room somewhere?
Oh no, he wouldn't try roaches. No, he's like, nah, I don't want roaches in here.
Okay, that might make it odd as to why there were 2 overturned bowls on the floor in the middle.
Probably just
between
angry
the beds,
days.
but- Angry days.
Days he didn't feel like giving it back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or he was too upset to.
Yeah, that's an explanation for it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Just she's like looking him over, just like looking for any sign of injury, any sign of
I thought you said
mistreatment.
licking him over.
No, looking him over. No.
Like
a
a cat.
cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, any sign of injury or mistreatment or anything that shows that he is not physically okay.
He's certainly dirty. It doesn't look like he's been offered a shower in quite some time, so unless he's got prestidigitation to keep
I
himself-
don't, sadly enough.
Oof. He kind of smells probably.
Okay. Other than needing a bath, you seem to be in one piece. Oh, my prince, it is so good to see you.
He might also be a little gaunt. Like he's been
more than
alive,
usual.
yeah. Sorry, there's a bug on my wall.
All good.
Never mind. Now there's no longer a bug on my wall.
Um, my prince, could you fill me in on what's been going on with you, please?
Well, that is a good question. Um, how do I describe it? I was taken. There was.
I was aware of that. I was there.
Oh, yes, you are.
You just see her jaw twitch. Is it like an irritation?
So I was taken. There was an estate I was at where they attempted to get me to sign a contract.
I bet you did not sign it.
Yes, well, I'm not going to sign something that is going to clearly put me into indentured servitude. So,
Did they think you weren't going to read it?
I mean, if I had to assume, it probably had happened multiple times before.
That's strange.
Yes, I would. Something was said later on that implied that others had been offered this as well. But essentially, it was indentured servitude. It was a rather nice location for what it was worth, but strange at the same time. But of course, I said no, and some automatons were sent to apprehend me. And I managed to avoid it for a bit, but eventually it was
Just
that or.
gives you kind of an exasperated look. Just like, of all times, be glad that you're good at ditching unwanted guard detail.
Yes, well, if I had to pick up something from you. And so after that, I skipped for a bit longer, and a demon, devil, something to that realm was summoned, and
You did find out the name of the guy in charge, maybe. Except I can't remember him right now. So you know it's a problem when the god of the world doesn't remember.
yeah.
I'll get that information for you.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
But you can say I found out his name too if you want.
I did find out a name, but I don't know what the hell that's going to be right now.
Yeah, it can wait until we get out of this place.
Yes. But after that, it was either tussle with the demon or just accept that I was going with them. So,
Glad you didn't cause yourself any harm,
of course
any
not.
more than necessary.
I wasn't just going to sign a contract and then let myself be estranged to whatever this was. But I've been here for a. Uh, mm, how long have you been away from my side?
Too long.
For her, it was. Ooh, let me check.
It's too long. That's the only answer she's giving.
Fair enough.
Well, long or not long enough. However long you have been gone, presumably.
Well, let's get us out of here, shall we?
Well, I would love to, but that door seems to be quite magic.
Can I look at the door?
Mm-hmm. The door
How
looks back in fear.
how strong does this door look?
Well, I mean, unless you examine it closely, it just looks like a wooden door that's pretty rickety. So, not too intimidating, for Carmen.
I mean, there's got to be some sort of trick to it, though. If Adrian hasn't managed to finagle his way out of it, so she's gonna look at it a little more closely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can notice that there appears to be a bit of a metal, undergirding to the wood. But even so, a door is still just a door with, maybe a bolt or two on the top and bottom of the door to keep it closed, but
Okay.
nothing a determined bodyguard can't get through, probably with a bit of brute strength or a bit
Yeah.
beating at the wall, maybe.
She is going to look at the door, look at Adrian, stand back for me.
I can do that. Yes.
Once he's safely out of the splash zone, she is going to take a little running start and just yeet herself at the store to break it open.
Okay, roll me strength. But I would be surprised if you do not succeed.
Ooh, that's a 7.
Oh,
Well, okay. What I
I am
imagine
surprised.
is she like tries it once as a
Mm,
test, and then I'd like to say that she's gonna put extra effort into it now a second time, and if I fail again, maybe she takes damage.
mm-hmm.
Kind of
Yeah.
like a Call of Cthulhu style ruling.
Yeah, so you kind of ram into it and give it a good shoulder check just to kind of test out how it'll react. The bolts on the door, like where it's kind of locked in, the locking mechanism, seems a little more sturdy than you expected, but the hinges actually, like, you can hear the wood kind of tearing away with the screws a little bit as you're banging into it. So the hinges seem like they might be the weak point.
With this, she's going to target more weight onto those hinges,
Mm-hmm.
and I got a 20.
Nat 20?
No,
Yeah. Oh.
no, not a nat. Dirty 20.
Either way, that door, like the hinges just fly off, and the door just kind of thump, and with a loud echoing gong noise, the door kind of lands on the ground, and the way is clear. Ahead of you, you see, well, something interesting, but perhaps we should save that for next session.
No!
Either way,
No!
you can continue the conversation for a second, though. Also, this whole time, as soon as you appeared, your sending stone was starting to like activate and go blue, blue.
Yeah,
blue,
Yeah,
message
she's
received.
ignoring it.
Yeah, I figured you would be, so I didn't want to interrupt the scene. But you get, the classic spam message of you waiting for your car's extension or your horse's extended warranty, but you also those messages that I sent you earlier,
Yeah.
which you can recheck if you want to, talking about how they're worried about you. Did you go talk to Dirth about this whole situation? Where are you? Are you alive? Also, war has broken out. Please respond. But I guess you'll check that later.
Yeah.
We could actually go a little bit longer if you want.
I'm okay with it.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to respect everyone's time because I did say 2 hours ish, but it's a good cliffhanger. But yeah, we can keep going for just a little bit longer if you want.
Only if you want to, Dylan.
I'm fine out of the way.
Cool. I'm having fun.
Me too.
Let's try this again now that we've got a bodyguard.
Yes, right.
So Carmen blasts the door open, and it goes thunk 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 thump, and you just hear the echoes of that thump reverberate around in a huge empty space. What you see beyond the door is just a big black abyss, it appears, from this particular angle. What would you like to do?
I hope you weren't thinking that I would do that myself.
No, which is why I did it for you.
Well,
Shall we go?
Yes, but where?
Well,
Looking at the void.
Well, the door, like, fell forward and then landed on this black void. So clearly there's a floor, you just can't see it. Like, it's just dark, 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 dark floor, dark walls, dark ceiling, dark everything, I guess. But there's clearly something to walk out onto. Imagine, have you guys watched Ahsoka, the show that's coming out recently?
No, I haven't.
It was a long shot.
It's all good.
Yeah. Just imagine kind of like a dark void with maybe some like faint stars in the background, kind of like a cosmic starry sky, but it's like remarkably dark.
Gotcha.
Adrian, perchance do you have something that could light up the area?
Well, I suppose. I, as far as light goes, the closest thing I have, um, because I'm that person, um, the only thing I can really do is fairy fire.
Ah, fun.
Okay,
Yeah.
don't do that.
Why not?
Um,
I don't have to cast it on myself. I can cast it in an area.
yeah, but you're gonna waste a spell slot.
Um, well, yeah, I suppose Adrian would look at you and just go, "Well, I do have fairy fire."
No, that one to do. Um, so I guess I'll fish a torch out of, since magical things in here seem to be a little wonky. She's just gonna go the old-fashioned way and fish a torch out of her backpack
Mm-hmm.
and light it.
Yep. Light's fine. Casting light out across this platform. What you see as far as the floor goes is there's like a narrowish walkway extending forward that the door has landed on, and then it kind of spreads outward along the floor. So the width of it is about maybe 7 or 8 feet across, and
Is there
it's just
anything
a.
below the walkway, or is it just abyss?
I mean, as far as you can tell, the light doesn't reach far enough to shed much light on it, but this appears to be just um imagine like a video game skybox type thing where there's just like
Yeah.
a big cube room with
Mhm.
like, there's some stars on it to make it look like it's a, an infinite expanse of void, like the Minecraft end or something.
It's
But
that thing where you like you go and you get a void map, and then you go down and you trap your friends in like white prison cubes. Have you ever done that? You put
white
a whole
prison.
chunk. You put a whole chunk. You fill a whole chunk with white concrete or like white blocks. Then you take a map of that chunk, and then you go down and you paper the whole walls with these white maps that you have copies of, and it's like being trapped in a white void.
Yeah, it's similar to that. Sure, why not? But it's not
Cool.
white. It's all like
So yeah,
darkness,
it's
but
dark. Yeah,
it's like decorated dark. So it again
interesting.
kind of gives the illusion of a starry night sky, just maybe slightly less stars than you would see normally. A little darker. But the
Um,
platform that you are on is kind of illuminated. It reacts to the light that you're seeing, and it kind of glows with a nice, like, faint blue hue, as though it's like a semi-transparent kind of bridge made of light.
okay. Um, and it's with the bridge being a little more transparent. Can we see in either direction? Like,
Well,
is
yeah, you
there
can
a
see
dead?
that the platform extends to the left and right around where you're coming out of. If you turn behind you to look back at what the door is in, it appears to be in the backside. Well, backside is a relative term, but it appears to be in a large planet, basically, like a model of a planet, a gas giant of some kind.
Oh, left or right, my prince?
Well, where does your intuition say you should go?
Out.
As insightful as always.
Left or right?
Left.
All right, she will turn to the left.
All right. You begin walking along this pathway and realize rather quickly that it appears to be curving, following the curvature of the fake planet that the prince seemed to be caught in. And you're walking along this. Oh, by the way, the oppressive nature of that, like, magic everywhere kind of feeling returns again, almost like a faint kind of song that's like always in the background, always just a fact of life. It returns now that it's no longer dampened by the lead casing. Anyway, so you're following along this pathway as it kind of extends almost like Saturn's rings around this gas giant that you're walking across, and you begin to see other of these model planets basically. So you're like in a large planetarium, it seems, just kind of walking through this endless void, seeing a model of the solar system. It seems there's several moons around a planet, and in the center of this large expanse, you see what appears to be the planet that you guys are familiar with, the Earth, basically, that you guys
Mm-hmm.
walk on in your normal lives, and then Roche, the moon that is tidally locked and is the same size, and they always orbit each other, locked facing the same way, so that a planet or the city can be built between the two planets, taking advantage of the canceled out gravity and giving a city with no gravity. So it's a place that you're all very familiar with, the look of it, and that is in the center of this whole room, with the sun being farther off in the distance and shedding some faint light upon these planets, so they're all directionally lit. But it's just, a very immersive kind of planetarium like you'd see at a museum or something, but just way more high budget and with magic. It's just normally you wouldn't expect guests to, I guess, go check out the backside of Saturn. Anyway,
Um,
so
do
you're
we
just
see
in
any?
this large cosmic
Yeah.
ballroom, and
Do we see any people like walking the path? Nope, just us.
it is just you guys. You're in an endless void, but you do see that there appears to be an exit that stands in stark contrast to the like illusory background of endless stars. There is a walkway that extends and then kind of goes up a ramp to a door that is a standard, normal-looking door that leads out. It seems. But yeah, you're just in a really big, like, imagine football stadium or football pitch.
Stadium?
Well, the court. What's the
Field.
football field?
Field.
Yeah, football field length type room of this whole like cosmic world, and you can see that the pathways kind of lead around corners and stuff, as well as though there's even more to this weird liminal space that you're not exploring yet, but the goal is to leave, and it's kind of like a museum exhibit, so it's designed to not let you get lost to the point where you wouldn't be able to find your way out. So it's clear where the exit is, and it's clear where the normal walking paths are, but you guys appear to be on a more of a hidden path that is only revealed when you like have the light shining on it, whereas the rest of the paths are kind of always semi-transparent and visible.
Gotcha.
Shall we make straight for the exit?
Hmm.
I don't like the sound of that. Must we?
I'm sure you would like to know more.
Must we?
Must is not the word, and you know it.
One.
Hmm.
One stop. Pick it.
Hmm. I'll decide when we get there, if that's my stop.
Once we pass it, we're not going back.
Okay.
What do you guys choose to do?
We're gonna keep walking until Adrian decides that something has caught his fancy enough for us to stop and look at it. Because she knows that he wants to look at everything, and he knows that she wants to leave, so that is their compromise.
Yeah, that's.
They just didn't have to hash it all out because they know each other well enough.
It's like, hey, you're willing to compromise at least a little bit.
Oh, you have to be.
Okay, let's see here.
So he gets to look at one planet as we leave.
One planet.
One. Like a child going to a museum. You get to look at one thing. What planet do we look at?
That's a good question because I don't know how set up. So
There are a couple of moons around. the main planet and the solar system, as far as like gas giants and other heavenly bodies that are kind of orbiting around, they're all very, distant but beautiful. They're all, enlarged and closer, so you just kind of see like a bunch of beautiful planets. There's one that's like largely pink and got like some strange patterns in the clouds. There's another one that just came out of that was more or less looking like Jupiter, but has the ring of your walkway that is now invisible because there's no longer light being directly shown up on it. There's other rocky planets as well. As far as the descriptions, might be less important than the deep rumbling that you begin to hear after a minute of beginning to walk along these paths. Sounds kind of familiar.
Hmm. I might want to cut this visit short.
Fine by me. I'm gonna pick up the pace just a tiny bit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Then
Enough that you're forced to like power walk or jog behind her, but she's still moving at like a swift walk.
Yeah. It's like, oh
after.
no.
Oh, sorry. What'd
I
you
was just gonna be like, oh no, the fast walking.
say?
It's not fast walking, it's moving with purpose, my prince. You should try it sometime.
There's between the exit and you at this point, from where you're currently standing, there's a large blue planet, and the rumbling appears to be emanating from within it. And as the as you guys are approaching, trying to get towards the exit, suddenly bursting forth from the top of it is what appears to be another devil or impish creature of some nature, but it appears to be cold rather than hot. So it's just icy vibes instead. It immediately kind of looks down at you and lets out a weird shriek that doesn't seem human. Well, obviously it's not human, but it doesn't seem.
Yeah, less.
It doesn't seem necessarily like it's trying to communicate anything. It's just angry. And
It's a battle cry.
yeah, go ahead and roll me initiative, guys.
Okie dokie.
Unless
I'm
we
all-
want to save this for next time.
Would
before
you
we-
rather?
I think maybe we put it off till then. Just
Okay.
Sure.
yeah, just because we did a lot of establishing now.
I mean, you did a lot of establishing.
I love you, my dear.
I'm
You
sorry.
enjoyed yourself.
I did.
Well, at least you'll be together next time, and I'll have a little bit of time to figure out what the bad guy's name was.
Yeah. Exactly.
True.
Can't believe I forgot that. Anyway, got lots to do. Should be fun.
Yes.
I can't wait to cast protection from evil and good on Adrian as my very first action.
Nice. That's probably a good plan with the devil.
That's
Yeah,
that spell is busted.
Cool. Thank you guys so much for playing. I had a lot of fun. Hope you guys did as well.
Lots
Yeah.
of fun.
Yeah, it was.
Yay.
It was fun to play him. So
Good times. All right.
Yeah.
Next week, same time.
Yeah, I'm down.
yeah,
Okay.
can do.
Sounds good.
Woo!